Check 1, 2. Hold on.
Yo.
Take that nose off this one. Here we go. Check 5. Check 1, 2, 2.
1, 2, 2.
All minds clear? Indeed.
This is Deuteronomy, or Devarim, chapter 6, at verse 4. Hear, O Yisrael, Yahuwah our Elohim, Yahuwah is one. Shema Yisrael,
Shema Yisrael,
Yahuwah Eloheinu,
Yahuwah Eloheinu,
Yahuwah Akkad.
Yahuwah Akkad.
This is Exodus, or Shemot, chapter 20, beginning at verse 3. We will have no other mighty ones
We will have no other mighty one
against the Most High.
against the Most High.
We will not make any carved
We
image
will not make any carved image
or any likeness
or any likeness
of that which is in Shamayim above,
of that which is in Shamayim above,
or which is in the earth beneath,
or which is in the earth beneath,
or which is in the waters under the earth.
or which is in the waters under the earth.
We will not bow down to
We
them,
will not bow down to them,
nor serve them.
nor serve
For
them.
Yahuwah El
For Yahuwah
is
El
a jealous
is
El,
the jealous El,
visiting the wicked
visiting the
of
wickedness
the fathers on the children,
of the fathers on the
to
children,
the third and fourth
to
generation
the third and fourth generation
of those that hate
of
him,
those that hate
but
him,
showing
but
kindness
showing
to
kindness
thousands of
to
those
thousands of
who
those
love him
who love him
and keep his commandments.
and keep his commandments.
We will not bring the
We
name
will not bring the
of
name
Yahuwah
of
El
Yahuwah El
to nothing.
to
For
nothing.
Yahuwah
For Yahuwah
will not leave us
will
unpunished,
not leave us
who
unpunished,
brings his name to
who
nothing.
brings his name to
We
nothing.
will remember the Shabbat
We
day
will remember the Shabbat
to
day
keep it
to
Kodesh.
keep it Kodesh.
6 days we will labor
6 days we will
and
labor,
do all our work.
do all our
But
work,
the seventh day
but the seventh day
is the Shabbat.
is the Shabbat
Yahuwah El.
of Yahuwah El.
For in 6 days
For in 6 days
Yahuwah made Shamayim
Yahuwah made Shamayim
and the earth
and the earth
and the sea
and the sea
and all that is in
and
them,
all that is in them,
and rested the seventh day.
and rested the seventh day.
Therefore Yahuwah barak the Shabbat day.
Therefore Yahuwah will rock the Shabbat day.
We will respect our fathers
We will respect our fathers
and our mothers,
and our mothers,
so that our days are
so
long
that our days are long
upon the earth.
upon the earth.
We will not murder.
We will not murder,
We will not commit adultery.
we will not commit adultery,
We will not
we
steal.
will not steal,
We will not bear false witness
we will not bear false witness
against our neighbor.
against our
We
neighbors.
will not
We
covet
will not covet
anything
anything
that is our neighbor.
that is our neighbors.
Father Yah, we give thanks for this day, Yah. We give thanks for this day, Father. We pray and ask, Father, that you would be here with us on this day, Father. Your word says where 2 or 3 are gathered together, that you would be in the midst, Father. We pray that your Ruach would be with us, Father. That it would give understanding unto the hearer, Father, and utterance unto the speaker, Father, so that we all may be doers of your word, Father. Father, we pray and ask, Father, that you would just continue to impart wisdom upon each and every one of us, Father. That we would use it, Father, the way that you intended, Father. Continue to pour out your Ruach on us, Father. Continue to give us the desire, Father, for your word, Father, that will be placed in our hearts, Father, that we would desire it like we desire your love, Father.
Yes.
That we would seek you early, Father, while you may be found, Father. Father, we thank you for the Shabbat. We thank you for all everybody that is listening, Father. We pray that everyone watching the stream, Father, will be edified according to your word, Father. We thank you with the prayers and the praises of our lips, Father. We thank you for life, health, and strength.
Yes.
All these things we pray and we give thanks. Bashem Yehovah, Mekai Yehoshua, Mashiach, or Ruach HaKodesh. So be it.
So be it. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. That's the anthem, right?
1, 2, 2. That's another one.
Shabbat Shalom. All praises to the Most High Yah for another blessed Shabbat. Just gonna sing this song. If you're in your living room, if you're laying in your bed, if you're resting, if you're sitting on your porch enjoying the beautiful weather, just join in and sing Hallelujah. Wherever you at, sing You are the risen King.
Come on.
Yes, you are. You're in majesty. Yeah. You are the risen King. Yeah. Death could not hold you down. You got up with all power in your hands. Death couldn't do it. They didn't have enough strength. Seated in majesty, you are the risen King.
Y'all let me sing, man. Oh my goodness. That would be too much. I need too much to be full of stuff. Take the voice back.
Walking around with the spotlight. Just sing on the spotlight.
Why we ain't sing this song?
Spotlight on the buzz on the blue. See, let me tell you why. Just explain stuff in song.
Yo, everything I'm doing, I'm singing.
Can I get number 5 with extra fries?
All that singing.
And lemonade on side.
Oh, man.
Everything is songs.
Alright, we live. Let's go.
Yo, Shabbat Shalom, my people. All right. Yo, Shabbat Shalom, my people.
Shalom.
Hey, can you give me a little bit? On this one. Check, 1, 2. Yeah. All right. All right. Again, Shabbat Shalom. Hope everybody is doing well. You know. So we're gonna get into this topic. We have that saying that we say, well, people say, man, this chicken is to die for, or this pizza is to die for, whatever it be. You make these claims of saying these words, not really realizing what you actually are saying, right? So we're gonna learn the meaning of a bunch of things today, like Esau's story, the woman at the well, what fasting is really about, you know what I mean? So, like the truth is very, very, as we say, layered like an onion. It has different layers to it. So you can take, if the truth is layered like an onion, then the lie, not a lie, but the lie, is layered as well like an onion. So we're going to try to pull back some layers on the lie using the truth, if that makes sense. All right? So we want to know how to survive this pandemic and everything that's going on. So a lot of people have been hitting me up, if they have the food shortage, what are we going to do? So the belly God is already ruling you. It's already overtaking you. Right? You're going to see this. All right, give me the way to survive this and to take the fear away from you. This is what you need to do. Give me Proverbs 1:33.
I ain't used to that.
Because the tabs don't even be in the exact spot.
Yeah.
3 books.
I'm staring at the tabs. 1 and what now? 31?
Yep.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 1 and verse 31. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices.
That's Proverbs 1:33.
That's 31. 33?
Yeah, 33.
Verse 33.
Yeah, but read that again though, because it spoke on it.
Verse 31. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way.
Of what?
Of their own way.
Eat of the fruit of their own way. This wasn't even a part of it, but it all works. Read.
And be filled with their own devices.
With what?
With their own devices.
With their own devices. Read.
For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them.
The what?
The prosperity of fools shall destroy them.
The prosperity of fools gonna destroy them. Read.
But whoso hearkens unto me.
Who do what?
Whoso hearkens unto me.
If you listen to me, read.
You shall dwell safely.
You do what?
You shall dwell safely.
You will dwell safely. Read.
And shall be quiet from fear of evil.
Quiet from fear of evil. So right there it says, he who listens to me, you won't have nothing to worry about. Absolutely, you won't have nothing to worry about. So that's the answer right there. Lesson is done. Let's go.
I digress.
I digress. Exactly.
Shout to my.
So all you gotta do is listen to him and no evil will come upon you. My ox snakes, they like, yeah, you gotta do more. Okay, we get more. Luke chapter 12, verse 24. So this is when you know the belly God is there, because people was asking, if it's a food shortage, what are we going to do?
The book of Luke, chapter 12, at verse 24. Consider the ravens.
So consider what?
Consider the ravens.
Read.
For they neither sow nor reap, which neither have storehouses nor barn, and Elohim feeds them.
Do what?
Elohim feeds them.
So they don't work, they don't plant, they don't do nothing. But he said, Yah feeds them. Read.
How much more are you better than the fowls? And which of you, with taking thought, can add to his stature 1 cubit? If you then be not able to do that thing which is least, why take you thought of the rest?
Why do what?
Take you thought of the rest.
Ain't no sense in worrying. Right? Read.
Consider the lilies and how they grow. They toil not, they spin not. And yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his esteem was not arrayed like one of these. If then Elohim so clothe the grass, which is today in the field and tomorrow cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O you of little faith?
Oh, you of what?
Of little faith.
Oh, you of little faith. Read.
And seek not you what you shall eat.
Do what?
Seek not you what you shall eat.
Don't worry about the food shortage. If you do what you're supposed to do, it won't affect you. Read.
Or what you shall drink. Neither be you of a doubtful mind.
Don't be of a doubtful mind. Read.
For all these things do the nations of the world seek after, and your Father knows that you have need of these things. But rather seek you the kingdom of Elohim, and all these things shall be added unto you.
Shall be what?
Shall be added unto you.
So all of these things shall be added unto you. If you listen to what he say, no harm will come to you. But if you don't really believe, yeah, I know it say that out, but if the shortage, if they stop the trucks from coming, what are we going to do? That's not the way. If we really believers, like we say we are, it's about to be tested. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 6.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 6. Increased are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness.
It says that do hunger and thirst after righteousness. Hunger and thirst. We're going to see in the law that these two things go hand in hand when it's talking about a glutton and a drunkard. So a lot of times we eat when we're not even hungry, right? We drink alcohol. When we're thirsty, we drink water or something like this, or something that's quote unquote refreshes us. When you're thirsty, you don't drink alcohol or something like this. So it's really no purpose. He says, blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness. Read that one more time.
Verse 6. Increased are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness.
Thirst after righteousness. But we know it's something that's going to make the people not listen and get themselves out of the way of healing and being into safety. So we've done a lot of lessons in this last 7 years that was changed a lot of the way that we thought about everything. And one of the ones that I done, it was about Jacob, and it showed me that Jacob self-inflicted most of the stuff that came on him, right? About 95% of the stuff that was happening to him came from him. So in light of that, I look back on this stuff and I look at the sickness that everybody been going through, and I'm like, did we do this to ourselves? When our great-grandmother and great-grandfathers died from diabetes and heart disease and sugar and all of these things, when you look back on it, you will see, as hurtful as it is, they actually did this stuff to themselves. But we don't know no better, so we blame Yah for it. We're going to see some stuff. Revelation chapter 12, verse 9. We've been here a million times, but it's necessary.
The book of Revelations, chapter 12, at verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceives the world, the whole world.
Half the world?
The whole world.
Whole world come out of her. Read.
He was cast out into the earth, and his malak were cast out with him.
Okay, so it tells you that this guy is going to deceive the whole world. The whole world is deceived. The only way you're not is if you actually know his word and what's out there. But we have a sin that's in the world that's overlooked by most, and you would never think that it's actually sin. The same way pride hides, right? And we didn't know that pride was a sin, but it's actually the greatest one. All right? Matthew chapter 24 and 24.
The book of Matthew, chapter 24 and verse 24. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
They will do what?
They shall deceive the very elect.
So if it was possible, the very elect would be deceived. That's how strong the delusion is. That's how strong the lie is. And most of it, the reason why you will accept the lie is because it comes from within you. Something that you want as opposed to what it is. Revelations 18:23.
The book of Revelations, chapter 18, at verse 23. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in you, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in you. For your merchants were the great men of the earth, for by your sorceries,
By what?
by your sorceries were all nations deceived.
So he says, by your sorcery was all nations deceived. I want y'all to put this in the back of your mind. He says, by your sorcery, this is pharmaceutical or pharmacy, was all nations deceived. Everybody, all nations have been deceived by this. All right? Revelation chapter 22 and 2.
Revelations 22 and verse 2. In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruit, and yielded her fruit every month, and the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations.
Was for what?
For the healing of the nations.
It says that this tree is for the healing of the nations. What does this show us by this tree being there? It shows us that the whole world is sick. If you gotta be healed, that this tree is here to heal you. It's showing us that the whole world is sick. Whether you know it or not, you may think that this bodybuilder is healthy because he do this, but you'll find out he only look good on the outside, not the inside. That's why a lot of them kill over and die, because they put so much strain on the heart and the inner person, but the outside looks good, like the sepulcher, right? So it says that this tree is for the healing of the nations, which again shows us that the world is sick, right? So with this particular sin, it's also like something that every man must do. So lust is one of the strongest sins that it is, the sexual sins. But you don't gotta have sex. You don't gotta do this to live. I know people like, I don't know. But it's a lot of people that went celibate. It's a lot of people that's virgins, and they living just fine. But this particular one, every man must do this in order to survive or sustain life. Let's get Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 24.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 2, 24, and verse 24. There is nothing better for a man than that he should eat and drink.
Do what?
There is nothing better for a man than that he should eat and drink.
He should eat and drink. This is a beautiful thing if it's taken for what it is. Read.
And that he should make his soul enjoy in his good labor.
In his what?
In his labor.
In his labor. So this is a beautiful thing if it's taken the right way. Ecclesiastes 3 and 13.
Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 13. I know that there is no good in them, but for a man to rejoice and to do good in his life. I'm sorry, that's wrong. And also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy all the good of all his labor. It is the gift of Elohim.
It is what?
It is the gift of Elohim.
So eating and drinking from your labor is a beautiful thing. But we got to keep this in context of what it's speaking about. Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 1. So we're going to get into some heavy stuff.
Ephesians chapter 2 at verse 1. And you has he quickened, who were dead in trespasses and sins.
And what?
In trespasses and sins.
Said you were dead in trespasses and in sin. Read.
Wherein time past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the Ruach that now works in the children of disobedience, among whom also we all had our conversation in times past.
In what?
In times past.
In times past, read.
In the lusts of our flesh.
In the what?
In the lusts of our flesh.
In the lust of our flesh. So the mind automatically say the lust of our flesh, we automatically think of something sexual. But it's way, way more than that. Way, way more than that. What verse you at?
3.
Finish that out.
Fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind.
So he said, fulfilling the desire of the flesh and of the mind. So it means it's more powerful than you. You gave in to it. You couldn't stop yourself. Let's see. Philippians chapter 3.
You'll finish the verse.
Yeah, finish that.
And were by nature the children of wrath.
But what?
By nature the children of wrath.
By nature the children of wrath. So when you was given in to your flesh, you was fit for destruction. As long as you give in to your flesh, you are fit for destruction. Keep that in mind. Philippians chapter 3, 17.
The book of Philippians chapter 3 verse 17. Brethren, be followers together of me, and mark them which walk as you have us for an example. For many walk, of whom I have told you often, and now tell you even weeping, that they are the enemies of the cross.
They're what?
They are the enemies of the cross of Hamashiach.
Read.
Whose end is destruction, whose Elohim is their belly.
It is what?
Their belly.
He said, who Elohim or whose God is their what?
Belly.
Is their belly. So when you give in to your lust, and I ain't just talking about sexual sin, but they go hand in hand. We're going to see. So he said, whose God is their belly. The belly God. It rules. We're going to find out. Again, another component from pride. Read.
And whose esteem is their shame, is in their shame.
Whose what?
Esteem is in their shame.
He says whose esteem is in their shame. So we see people on the book all day posting food and different things all day long. So we got, when we was in the world in times past, like he's speaking about, we thought we was doing something when we was going out buying lobster and steak and all of this stuff, and you really thought you was living it up, but you was actually defiling your temple with trash, and you was posting it, glorying in your shame. That's what this is, glorying in your shame. They got the cooking channels where the man on there eating all type of strange stuff, but he getting famous while he's glorying in his shame. The black lady who eat them the seafood stuff. She get in front of the camera and she's a glutton and she just, oh, so good. She's glorying in her shame. You eating something that's despicable, but you getting famous from it. You're glorying in your shame.
Yeah, a lot of the Israelites is the ones who be watching it.
Absolutely. It's terrible. Read that again at 19.
Whose end is destruction, whose Elohim is their belly, and whose esteem is in their shame. Who mind earthly things.
Who do what?
Who mind earthly things.
Who mind earthly things. He told you to put your mind and your treasures in the Shamayim, because wherever your treasure is at, that's where your heart gonna be at. But it's down here, minding earthly things. Things that's absolutely no good. Proverbs 25:16.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 25 at verse 16. Have you found honey? Eat so much as it is sufficient for you.
He said, do what?
Eat so much as it is sufficient for you.
He said, eat enough that you be satisfied. Read.
Lest you be filled therewith and vomited.
And do what?
Lest you be filled therewith and vomited.
So he telling you, don't overeat.
Yeah.
He telling you, eat enough till you satisfied. Don't go over it. Don't go back for seconds when you know you're already full. There's a lot of y'all gonna run out and buy all that meat. And you're not realizing this is what's actually keeping you hungry and starving in the first place. But we gonna get there. We gonna walk you there. Read it again.
What verse was that?
It was verse 16.
Proverbs 25 and 16. Have you found honey? Eat so much as is sufficient for you, lest you be filled therewith and vomited.
Lest you be filled therewith and vomit. So this means this person has no self-control, that you keep eating and you get sick. But when we think of a glutton, we think of somebody that's 600 pounds on my 600-pound life. Well, guess what? You don't have to be 600 pounds to be a glutton. You're going to prove it. Right? Get 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 10, and verse 31. Whether therefore you eat or drink or whatsoever you do all to the esteem of Elohim.
He said, whatever you eat and whatever you drink, do all to the esteem of Yahuwah. Now, when we eat, are you thinking about giving him esteem? Be for real. When you eat your food, are you thinking about I'm supposed to be giving him esteem while I'm eating? Or are you just eating? In all things, he's told us, in everything that you do, acknowledge him. Read that again. So now you got to think about this. When you eating at McDonald's, when you eating at the Chinese place, which a lot of y'all finally stopped because you seen something, right? Are you esteeming him? Read it again.
Whether therefore you eat or drink or whatsoever you do all to the esteem of Elohim.
He said, do all to the esteem of Elohim. Now, if you found yourself and somebody had an apple pie or a cake or something, and you got a piece of it, and next thing you know, before you went to sleep, you ate half the cake or half the pie, and you couldn't contain yourself, and you couldn't stop yourself, guess what you really are? A glutton. Yeah. Whether or not you know it or not. But it's a reason. It's a reason. That's why Solomon told you before his folly, before he fell off into his folly, he told you, eat enough, lest you vomit. Then we eat all of this stuff right before we go to bed, to the point you get sleepy when food is supposed to be your energy.
The itis.
Right.
You get the itis when food is supposed to be your energy. But we sit there and you have to unzip your pants or unbutton the top button and lay back. Oh, that's some good eating. No, it's not. No, it is not. Like my ox told me, and my brother said, man, I eat 2 times a week. They go on a fast from Sunday to Friday. I can't wait to get to that. You know what I'm saying? Sound bananas at the moment because we are still gluttons at the moment. Right? Galatians chapter 5, verse 23.
The book of Galatians, chapter 5, and verse 23.
So we're going to see one of the fruits of the Spirit that you must have. Read.
Meekness, temperance, again.
He said what?
Meekness.
Meekness is the opposite of what? Pride. Read.
Temperance.
Temperance. What does temperance mean? It means self-control. So when you gave into the flesh, like we was reading in Philippians, and in the other text that we read, when you give in to the flesh, and you keep eating even though you know you're not hungry, you show no self-control. So when that time comes, like everybody's afraid of the food shortage, when the time comes, you won't have no self-control, and you will die over some food. We're going to see it though. Read that one more time.
Meekness, temperance, against such there is no law.
He said what?
Against such there is no law.
So if you got these things, you're going to be under the law because you already know how to do what it's talking about. You must have self-control. Proverbs 13 and 25.
Read the next verse.
Go ahead.
Verse 24. And they that are Hamashiachs have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts.
They did what?
Have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts.
He said they crucified the flesh. That means these people have self-control. You eat when you're not even hungry. Just because you see it, just because you smell it. So when we was little and, Mom, I'm hungry, I want something to eat. Or there's some spaghetti in there. Mom, I don't want no spaghetti. Well, you ain't hungry then. Right? You just want something to eat because it's there, because you know that there's some chocolate cookies on top of the refrigerator. You know that there's something in there sweet that you want to eat. But that's a child. We still do it as adults. Meaning you don't got no self-control. No, they think it is like, oh man, that ain't no, this ain't nothing. We're gonna see. We're gonna see.
It's crazy you said that, like, you know, we're going through stuff and you can't smell, your appetite ain't even, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It force you to wanna, because you can't smell nothing. Ain't nothing that's like,
Exactly.
Ain't smell or taste.
or taste.
So you
And guess what?
Eating is like an afterthought.
Exactly. We about to show it. You have to show it. Proverbs 13:25.
13:25.
Proverbs 13:25. This food is to die for.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 13, and verse 25. The righteous eat to satisfy of his soul.
You do what?
The righteous eat to the satisfying of his soul.
So he eats enough. Soon as the hunger knocks away, he pulls back. I'm straight. I ate my portion. But we've been deceived to say you need 2,000 calories. You need to eat 3 times a day, a wholesome meal. You need a big piece of meat and some little bit of vegetables and something on the side. No, that's why it's a pyramid scheme. They got it right on the back of everything. You need your eggs and this and this and this and this, and you need this many calories. That is a lie. That is a lie. You do not have to do this. Well, you need to have your protein. I gotta have my protein. The same cow that you eat, he don't eat meat. And he's super strong. That gorilla that's got more muscle than any man, what does it eat? Veggies. Wow. How is that?
I've heard before.
How that strong horse that can ride you on his back, he don't eat meat. But wow, he got protein. They getting it from plants. We've been deceived. We've been deceived greatly.
Good.
Right? Read that verse again, huh? Verse 25.
The righteous eat to the satisfying of his soul, but the belly of the wicked shall want.
It shall what?
Shall want.
He say the belly of the wicked shall want. This means you can't get enough. It's a glutton. I can't stop. It's taking control of me. They tell you with the Lay's chips, you can't eat just one.
Bet you can't eat just one.
Exactly. They know because there's something in there that's making you do it. And showing that you don't have self-control. So the mere mention of somebody saying, bro, the meat is harming us, is killing us. The first thing comes up, or what about the plants? What about this? It's showing that you got no control. That's what it's showing. As soon as you say that, I'm going to get to it. As soon as you say, well, what about the plants ain't no good either. They doing this with them. They GMO, they doing that. It means I ain't never seen nobody glutton off vegetables before and have cravings off greens before. Because if we say, they say you can't eat kale and spinach and what's it, mustards no more. Oh, well, you won't have nothing to say. But with that meat, the belly guard takes over. Put the defenses up. Oh, he off on this one. I don't care what he say. We gonna see. We gonna see. Proverbs 23, verse 1.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 23 and verse 1. When you sit to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before you.
He said, when you sit to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before you. So think of this in modern times. If you were sitting with somebody that you looked up to and admired, and they had all types of stuff on the table. Read.
And put a knife to your throat if you be a man given to appetite.
That man says put a knife to your throat if you given to appetite. That means if your appetite or your belly controls you, you should slit your throat and die. Listen at that. One more time, Mark.
When you sit to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before you, and put a knife to your throat if you be a man given to appetite.
Read.
Be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat.
They're what?
Deceitful meat.
They are deceitful meat. So if you sit down with whoever you might admire, Jay-Z or whoever, Nas or whoever, and they got that stuff on the table and you don't want to disappoint them. Dang, I don't want to turn them down and look like I ain't grateful. I need to be here at these meetings, you know what I'm saying? I got to rub elbows with these people. You say, consider what's before you. And if you're a man given to appetite, put a knife to your throat. Let's see somebody with self-control. Let's get Daniel.
You know, when you get locked up and they throw a ho-ho in your bed.
If you went there for the weekend, you can do it.
They say, consider what you about to eat.
Yeah.
What's going to come with this?
So let's get Daniel chapter 1. Pick it up at verse 4.
The book of Daniel 1 and 4. Children in whom was no blemish, but well favored.
But what?
But well favored.
But well favored. Read.
And skillful in all wisdom, and cunning in knowledge, and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat.
He did what?
Appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat.
So this is Nebuchadnezzar, the great Nebi, right? He appointed them their daily meat. Read.
And of wine, which he drank, so nourishing them for 3 years.
It's got to be good because the king drinking it, right? Read.
That at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Now among these were of the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
Most people don't know that that's really their names. Read.
Unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names, for he gave unto Daniel the name Belteshazzar, and to Hananiah Shadrach, and to Mishael Meshach, and to Azariah Abednego.
So we think that this is really their names. Read.
But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself.
He considered what was before him. Read.
That he would not defile himself with a portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now Elohim had brought Daniel into favor.
Into what?
Into favor.
He got faith, so he got favor. Read.
And tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my master the king, who hath appointed your meat and your drink.
So right here, he's afraid, like, man, the king gave you this meat. You don't want to refuse that, man. You know what I'm saying? He might do something to me. Consider when you sit down with a ruler. Read.
For why should he see your faces worse liking than the children which are of your sort? Then shall you make me endanger my head up to the king.
So he's afraid. He might kill me, man, if y'all don't eat what he got for y'all. Read.
And then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove your servant, I beseech you, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat.
Give us what?
Pulse to
What
eat.
is pulse? Vegetables. Vegetables and champagne.
And water to drink.
And what?
And water to drink.
So Daniel says, give me vegetables and water to drink. So a lot of people think that Daniel had the Daniel fast. This is not a fast. This is a diet. Fasting means don't eat nothing. Don't drink anything. Right? This is not a fast. This is a diet that he is doing. He's showing restraint. Read.
Then let our countenances be looked upon before you, and the countenance of the children that eat the portion of the king's meat. And as you see, deal with your servants. So he consented to them in this matter, and proved them 10 days.
How many days?
10 days.
10 days, and it showed a difference in them. Read.
And at the end of 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat.
Which did what?
That did eat the portion of the king's meat.
So 10 days later, their countenance is much better than the people that was eating the king's meat. Daniel considered what was before him. He didn't care about offending them. And since he was diligent in his ways, Yah gave him favor. Right? Keep this stuff in mind. So Daniel had restraint in his dealings right here. So there is a saying in the world that the way to a man's heart is through what?
Stomach.
His stomach. I wonder where they get this from. There's something that's called a belly god. So go through his stomach and you can get him. That's why, again, they posting food all the time. Many of people that left this walk because they got with somebody that's not in the faith because they can cook good. Whew, I can't resist it. We're going to see it.
You never had a dime cooked like that.
Exactly. Boy, that macaroni and cheese and them pork chops, to die for it. Yeah, and that's exactly what you're doing. Get me 1 Corinthians 6:19. So if the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, it should be the way to a man's heart is through Yah. But We're saying that it's the belly. Because men is controlled from lust most. And it come from the eyes. We're going to see. Read. We have 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19.
1 Corinthians 6 and 19. What? Know you not that your body is the temple of the set apart Ruach, which is in you, which you have of Elohim, and you are not your own?
And you what?
You are not your own?
He said, you are not your own. He says, know you not that you are the temple of Elohim. So if you are the temple of Yah, right? That means that there's openings in a temple. Consider a building. It has a front door, back door, side door, has windows. But you being the temple of Elohim, you got to be careful what you let in your temple. But how does things get into the temple? You have gates to your temple, which is your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your ears, and your touch, your senses. So when we see stuff on TV, we look at it. Oh man, them ribs look good. You just let it enter into your temple. So if you're in the car and you're listening to the radio and they play it and they let the Coke sound, let you hear it fizzle. You just let it in. It just took you. Now I gotta stop at this place. I'm riding down the street and the aroma from the chicken place, this chicken sandwich, ease into the car somehow. Oh my God, I got to stop.
Somebody smell that barbecue in the air.
Exactly.
Somebody
chewing.
Right.
Somebody chewing. And I got to stop. It just took you over. You wasn't even hungry, but the sight, the sound, the smell, all of it overtook you and made you do something that you wasn't about to do. Where you at, bro? Oh man, we stopped and get a chicken sandwich at Popeyes. Man, you said you was around the corner. See? Something stopped you. You didn't want to do that, but it made you do it. We're going to see. So you let these things into your gates. Let's see. Genesis chapter 3.
Right.
Man, that sounds good.
Right. Man, that sounds good.
Man, that sounds so good. They put the mic directly to the sound. Ooh, I know that sound.
With the ice cube.
And it go.
Right.
Yep. Genesis chapter 3, pick it up at verse 1.
The book of Genesis chapter 3 and verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahuwah Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, have Elohim said, You should not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruits of the trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim have said, You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die.
So her senses is being stimulated right now. She's talking to him. She hears him. Read.
And the serpent said unto the woman, You shall not surely die.
Bold-faced lie. Read.
For Elohim does know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened.
Your what?
Your eyes shall be opened.
He got the sight. Read.
And you shall be as elves, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw,
She did what?
when the woman saw,
So now she's heard, listening to him. Now she sees. He's into her gates. Read.
that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the tree of the fruit thereof, and did eat.
Now she's taste. So it's in the 3 main gates already. And every time you eat, you automatically smell. Right? So all of the gates been there, plus the touch. Her senses have been overwhelmed, just like we just told you. The gates to your temple is through these things. Then it gets into the mind, and from there, the belly is going to rule. It's going to make you do what you don't want to do, right? So we see this is how it gets into the gates. Again, many oxen, many sisters have left this walk because they got with somebody and it overwhelmed them, and they ate things sacrificed unto idols that we wasn't supposed to do. Give me Luke chapter 17, verse 26.
The book of Luke, chapter 17, verse 26.
Mm-hmm.
And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man.
So he's letting you know that what was going on then is going to be happening now. It only repeats itself. Read.
They did eat. They drank.
They did what?
They did eat.
Notice, they did eat. Why would he just mention that? Out of all the other wicked stuff was going on, he's pointing this out. They did eat and they did drink. Read.
They married wives. They were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all.
It did what?
Destroyed them all.
So this was a part of the flood that took all of these people away, and only 8 people survived. And he directly mentioned eating and drinking. Directly. What verse you at?
That was
27?
No, that was 26. Oh, that was 27.
Read verse 28.
Verse 28. Likewise also, as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank.
He mentions it again in both passages, before the flood and in Sodom and Gomorrah. Flat out, he says again, they did eat and they did drink. Same thing. Out of all of the sin that's going on, he directly identifying this is what's going on at this time. Read.
They bought, they sold, they planted, they builded.
We're going to get back into the bought and sold on my next joint when I'm next up here. But again, he mentions these things directly. So when we think of the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah, it's always, of course, the homosexuality is the first thing that comes to mind, but it's something underneath that always do it. Let's get Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 48.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 16, at verse 48. As I live, says Yahuwah Elohim, Sodom, your sister, have not done, she nor her daughters, as you have done, you and your daughters. Behold, this was the iniquity of your sister Sodom, pride, fullness of bread.
What is it?
Fullness of bread.
He says, fullness of bread. So we see that these people was gluttons. He says, fullness of bread, right after he mentioned pride. So when you eat too much, what normally happens to you? You get lazy. Read.
An abundance of idleness.
Meaning these people became lazy, which leads you to the other sin of slothfulness. Do this, you sluggard. The book talking about the sluggard, but this sin right here leads you to this one. When you get, the more you eat, the lazier you get, the bigger you start to get. It all works hand in hand. Read that verse one more time.
Behold, this was the iniquity of your sister Sodom, pride, fullness of bread, and abundance of idleness was in her and in her daughters. Neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and needy.
Neither did they strengthen the hand of the poor and the needy. So we can see that this is what a part of bringing on the flood and bringing on what Sodom and Gomorrah. Food is a big part of the reason why these places was destroyed. 1 Corinthians 6 and 9.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 9. Know you not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of Elohim. Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind.
I want you to notice these things that he mentioned in this list. Read.
Nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards.
Nor what?
Nor drunkards.
Nor drunkards. That's something with the belly again. Read.
Nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of Elohim. And such were some of you.
He said, you used to be like this. Read.
But you are washed, but you are sanctified, but you are justified in the name of the Master Yeshua, and by the Ruach of our Elohim. All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient.
So he says, all things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. So I know people are saying, meat is clean, chicken is clean, fish is clean, these things are clean. Yes, they are. They are not a sin to eat them in themselves. But when you find out what they're doing to them, this is what make it no good. So again, we ain't telling you that, I'm not telling you that these things are unclean. They just not expedient right now. Read it again.
Which verse? Last verse.
Verse
12.
Yeah.
Okay. All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any.
He says, I won't be brought under the power of any. So if your appetite takes control of you, this is what Paul is saying. I'm not going to be taken under control of anything. And he just mentioned a bunch of things. Now watch what he mentioned next. Verse 13.
Meats for the belly, and the belly for meats.
So he says, meats for the belly, and the belly for meats. This is the people who eat, who live to eat. Oh, I can't wait to eat. I love to eat. My greedy self, people say it all the time. I can't wait to eat. Meats for the belly and the belly for meats. So if you do the research on this, you'll see that they was gluttons back in Corinth at this time. Read.
But Elohim shall destroy both it and them.
What is the it and them? The food and what else?
And the gluttony.
And the belly. And you, if you give into it. Read.
Now the body is not for fornication, but for Elohim, and Yahuwah for the body.
So he's telling you now, he goes back to fornication again, because a lot of times these things go hand in hand. The lust and the eating. That's why, again, they tell you that the woman knows that to get to the man, food is the way to get to him. He mentioned all of this fornication and all of these things, and then he went back to food, showing you the connection, the link to these things. Verse 14.
And Elohim have both raised up the master, and will also raise up us by his own power. Know you not that your bodies are the members of Hamashiach? Shall I then take the members of Hamashiach and make them members of an harlot? Elohim forbid.
Yah forbid. Read.
What? Know you not that he which is joined to an harlot is one body? For two, says he, shall be one flesh. But he that is joined unto the master is one ruach. Flee fornication. Every sin that a man does is without the body, but he that commits fornication sins against his own body.
He does what?
Sins against his own body.
He sins against his own body. So think of a car, right? When you have a car and your car takes premium gas with 93, but instead of doing the 93, you say, I'm going to get the 80, 87 or the 88, right? When you put that in your whip, it don't drive right? It's sputtering. Oh man, I got to put something better in my baby than that.
You got enough octanes.
Right? It don't run right. So we as people we eat something with a title connected to it, junk food. So if you wouldn't put this bad gas in your whip, why would you put it in your body? Think about it. Why would you go and put that trash in your body? And I'm speaking to me too because I did it. I be doing it. Yeah. I'm still getting over it right now. So this ain't looking down on nobody else. But again, we eat something that's called junk food with no nutrients, but it's full of calories. And your body can't even digest it because it's stacked on top of each other from doing it so many times. Let's get Exodus chapter 32, verse 4.
The book of Exodus, chapter 32, at verse 4. And he received them at their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool after he had made it a molten calf.
So this is when Moses is on the mount and he's been up there for 40 days and 40 nights, and we know that he's fasted, he's hungry. Let's see if Moses has restraint. Read.
And they said, These be thy elves, O Israel, which brought you up out of the land of Egypt. And when Aharon saw it, he built an altar before it, and Aharon made proclamation and said, Tomorrow is the feast of Yahuwah.
Read.
And they rose up early in the morrow, and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings, and the people sat down to eat and to drink.
To do what?
To eat and to drink.
So they down there partying it up, having a barbecue or something. Happy people playing. Happy people, yeah.
Keeps the world.
Right? Partying it up. Let's see who Moses come down and join him. We know he got to be hungry, right? He's been up there for 40 days and 40 nights. Read.
And rose up to play. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, Go, get you down, for your people, which you brought out of the land of Egypt, have corrupted themselves.
Have did what?
Have corrupted themselves.
Have corrupted themselves. We know if you keep reading, Moses didn't partake in this. He had restraint when he got down. He didn't join them and start eating this wickedness with them. But as you can see, food and drink is a part of this temptation. Again, the food is trash. It ain't no good. Let's get Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 12. So when we eat bad things, it causes the body to be sick. Even if you think you're healthy, it's the reason why most of us got sick or get sick all the time, because our immune system is not up to par because we are putting bad gas into it. Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 12.
The book of Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 12. And you shall eat it as barley cakes, and you shall bake it with dung.
With what?
With dung.
He told Ezekiel you're going to eat it as barley cakes and you're going to bake it with dung. What? Read.
That comes out of man in their sight. And Yahuwah said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread amongst the Gentiles.
He said that the children of Israel is going to eat their defiled bread amongst the Gentiles. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're eating defiled bread, and he make it so bad that he compared it to dung. Right? That a man that comes out of a man, he said this food is going to be so poisonous that it's going to be like dung that comes from a man. Read that verse 13 one more time, Mark.
And Yahuwah said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them.
Well, where?
Whither I will drive them.
Where I will drive them. So the food that we're eating is complete poisonous. But ain't nobody addicted to vegetables. But the other stuff, You're addicted to it. We're going to see this is why we took on the ways of Cain. We was in the countries growing our own stuff, but we gave it and came to the industrial places. I don't want to grow my own stuff. I'd rather buy it from you, which is backwards. It's the same thing with Cain. He said, cursed shall be the ground, and it won't yield you its food. But it ain't cursed for us. It was cursed for him. We just choose not to do it. We're backwards. Instead of planting a whole garden in our whole backyard, we thinking about a pretty lawn, which you can't eat. Ooh, my grass so pretty. I can't wait to get out there and get in my yard. But you can't eat none of that. Completely backwards. Eating our defiled bread amongst the Gentiles. Proverbs chapter 25, verse 27.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 25 and verse 27. It is not good to eat much honey. So for men to search their own esteem is not esteem.
It is what?
Is not esteem.
Read.
He that has no rule over his own ruach is like a city that is broken down
He
and
said
without
it's like
walls.
A city that's broken down without walls. So the walls that he's speaking about in this context is, again, the senses. It's the senses all again. So it's like, if you can't rule your own ruach, it's like a city with broken down walls, which again, this is talking about your senses, that you're going to let something that's harmful into your gates. Right? We're going to see something. Give me Isaiah 46 and 9. Everything repeats. It's a cycle.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 46 and verse 9. Remember the Remember the former things of old, for I am Elohim, and there is none else. I am Elohim, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning.
Doing what?
Declaring the end from the beginning.
Declaring the end from the beginning. That's why he was showing us in that Luke that as they was doing in the days of Noah, which is the beginning, and in Sodom and Gomorrah, which is still the beginning, because they are both in Genesis, the same thing is going to be taking place at the end. That's the reason why you're worried about a food shortage. That's the reason the belly god is making you get scared. Oh my God, what are we going to do? Oh my, I don't know what's going to happen, because it's taking over. Right? Let's give me Daniel chapter 10. Matter of fact, get Numbers. Numbers chapter 11. Pick it up at verse 2.
The book of Numbers, chapter 11, and verse 2. And the people cried unto Moses.
They did what?
They cried unto Moses.
Read.
And when Moses prayed unto Yahuwah, the fire was quenched. And he called the name of that place Taberah, because the fire of Yahuwah burnt among them. And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a-lusting.
They did what?
They fell a-lusting.
For what?
And the children of Israel also wept again, and said, who shall give us flesh to eat?
Who shall give us what?
Who shall give us flesh to eat?
So they're crying about eating some flesh. But are they really hungry?
Nope.
No, they're not. They got something that's there. They got something that there is called manna, which is the bread of life, which comes down from Shamayim, which again has more nutrients than sea moss. I'm pretty sure of that. I can't back it up, but I'm pretty sure of that. Exactly. But they didn't want it. They didn't want it. They are crying for meat. Read that again.
And he called verse 4. And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a-lusting, and the children of Israel wept again, and said, Who shall give us flesh to eat?
Who shall give us what?
Flesh to eat.
Who shall give us flesh to eat? Read.
We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic. But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all besides this manna.
Besides what?
Besides this manna.
Nothing besides this manna. So you wasn't really hungry because you actually had something to eat, but it's just not what you wanted. This shows this is gluttony right here. I want to eat this. I want to eat this trash. I know that this is good for me. Just like now, my wife had one of her friends. She had the sickness, and she told her, you need to take this and this and this. She says, I'm not taking it if it's nasty. So you'd rather be sick, possibly die, than to take what can help you. This is the spot that the children of Israel is in right here. I don't want the manna. We want what we was eating in Egypt. We want it so bad that we would rather go back into slavery for it. Are you kidding me? Over something to eat? Hunger makes a man stupid. Right? That's why it's telling us in Matthew, it says, blessed are they that hunger and thirst for righteousness. You're going to see something. Read that verse 5.
We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers and the melons, and the leeks, and the onions, and the garlic. But now our soul is dried away, and there is nothing at all besides this manna before our eyes.
Nothing besides this manna before our eyes. We don't want it. No self-control. They don't have self-control. Daniel chapter 10, verse 2 and 3.
Daniel 10 and 2. In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine into my mouth.
So he says, for how long?
For 3 full weeks.
For 3 full weeks. This is not telling you that Daniel wasn't eating. He just was afflicting himself and not eating anything that he liked. So it was like, I'm going to eat cauliflower rice for 3 weeks straight. I don't like it, but I'm doing this on purpose. He's showing that I have the resolve. I can rule my body. I don't have to give in to it and eat what it's begging me for. If you actually start to pull away from this stuff, you'll start to see that you have more control over the body. If you get away from it, I know it's hard at the moment, but once you start seeing, wow, I haven't even eaten today. And then you say, well, I might as well eat, even though you ain't even hungry. Stop doing it. Stop doing it. Right? Don't get full. If you're listening, don't get full again. Mm-hmm. Why do you think they got these places called a buffet? Come in and be a glutton. Everybody in here, come in and be a glutton. Eat as much as you can. I know we going tomorrow. For $9.99, we going tomorrow, so I ain't gonna eat today. I'm gonna try not to eat that much today so I can stuff myself. If I can possibly push some of them wings in my purse, I'm gonna do it.
The roast.
No, really?
Not that I can't cook them at home.
You can't cook them like Ponderosa. You can't make them Ponderosa wings.
Exactly. No. Can't get away from it. A place of gluttony. You think it's good though. They got the variety, boy. I'm about to get stuffed up. Oh, I can't eat another piece. Man, you know they got the chocolate cake over there. Oh, I gotta give me a piece of that. Now you just stretched your stomach way bigger than it's supposed to be. Not even realizing that you're getting set up for destruction with this. You're showing no restraint, no control over the belly, God. Proverbs 23, one more time.
23 and what?
Verse 1 and 2.
No, that was Daniel.
No, we're going to Proverbs though.
Oh. You want me to reread the Daniel or go back to
No,
Proverbs?
no, we good with the Daniel.
Okay. 20. The book of Proverbs, chapter 23 and verse 1. Okay. When you sit to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before you, and put a knife to your throat. If you be a man given to appetite.
So he says, again, put a knife to your throat if you are a man given to appetite, or if you are a man with a big appetite. Right? He says, slit your throat and kill yourself if you're given to appetite. Let's get Genesis chapter 25, verse 27.
The book of Genesis, chapter 25, and verse 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter.
He was what?
A cunning hunter.
Read.
A man of the field. And Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat.
He did what?
Because he did eat.
Because he did eat. Read.
Of his venison. But Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob sowed pottage. And Esau came from the field and was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray you, with that same red pottage, for I am faint.
I am what?
I am faint.
Read.
Therefore his name was called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day your birthright.
Do what?
Sell me this day your birthright.
Surely he's not going to sell his birthright. If you understand what the birthright entails, it means to bring the Mashiach into the world, to be a part of the line. So I know he's not going to sell his birthright for a bag of ramen noodles. I know he's not going to do that. This is what this is showing, that this man, because he's hungry, is willing to sell Mashiach for a bag of ramen noodles, which is absolutely nothing. Read.
And Jacob said, sell me this day your birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him. And he sold his birthright unto Jacob.
He did what?
He sold his birthright unto Jacob.
So we're going to see the reason why it says that Mashiach hated Esau. Right? I never understood this until now. The reason why it says that he hated him even before he was born, because he already knew that this guy was going to do something despicable and very, very stupid. Right? Read that verse one more time.
And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way.
He did what?
He went his way.
He rose up and went his way. He not even considering. Read.
Thus Esau despised his birthright.
He did what?
Despised his birthright.
He despised his birthright. This man just sold Mashiach out for a bag of ramen noodles. Nothing. Because he was hungry. He had no self-control. We're going to come back and see the full meaning of this. He has absolutely no control of himself, that he just sold this out for nothing. Let's go to the woman at the well. John chapter 4, pick it up at verse 6.
The book of John, chapter 4, verse 6. Now Jacob's well was there. Yeshua, therefore, being weary with all his journey.
Being what?
Being weary.
So this is showing his human side. It says Yahusha being weary or thirsty, tired. Read.
With all his journey, sat thus on the well, and it was about the 6th hour.
What hour?
The 6th hour.
About the 6th hour. This is about noon. Usually they come to the watering place early in the morning before it gets all the way hot. So they're telling you this time for a reason. Read.
There comes a woman of Samaria to draw water. Yeshua said unto her, give me to drink.
Do what?
Give me to drink.
I want you to notice, he's asking this lady, a woman of Samaria, for something to drink. Keep this in mind. Read.
for his disciples were gone away unto the city to buy meat. Then said the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that you, being a Jew, ask drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans.
So she knows this is odd that he's talking to her. This is a man talking to a woman in this time is not common. Plus, she's a Samaritan. They don't deal with each other. But Mashiach do everything for a reason. Read.
And Yeshua answered and said unto her, If you knew the gift of Elohim, and who it is that says to you, Give me to drink.
The what?
If you knew the gift of Elohim, and who it is that says to you, Give me to drink, you would have asked of him, and he would have given you living water.
And he would give you what?
Living water.
He would have given you living water. So she's at this well because she's thirsty. She's here at a particular time because she's a woman of scorn, right? She's a woman of scorn. She don't want to face the other women when they come to the well. Do your research or y'all text me all this stuff. She don't want to be there at the time that they normally get there. So she came at an opportune time. And Mashiach knows this. This is why he's going there. If you read up, it says, and he had to go through this place. Watch. Read on.
The woman said unto him, Sir, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From where then have you that living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob?
So she's showing that she's a believer. She mentioned Jacob, and she's saying that he's our father. She's showing you that she got some understanding. A lot of people have taught that this woman is a whore. She is not. We're going to actually see it. Got the whole story completely mixed up. Right? Says, are you greater than our father Jacob? So she know about this. Would a prostitute or harlot actually say this type of thing? Let's understand. Read.
Which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle? Yeshua answered and said to her, Whosoever drinks of this water shall thirst again.
If you drink this water from this well, you're going to thirst again. Read.
But whosoever drinks of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst.
Shall what?
Shall never thirst.
Remember, he told you, blessed are they that hunger and thirst for righteousness. Read.
But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life.
How long?
Unto everlasting life.
Everlasting life. Let's see if she rejects this water that he's talking about giving her. Read.
And the woman said unto him, Sir, give me this water, that I thirst not, neither come here to draw.
So she says, give me this water. She's not rejecting it. She wants it. I've been looking for something my whole life. She's asking, give it to me. Read.
Yeshua said unto her, Go, call your husband.
Do what?
Go, call your husband.
He said, go and call your husband. In passing. Go get your husband. Read.
And come here. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Yeshua said unto her, You have well said, I have no husband. For you have had 5 husbands, and he whom you now have is not your husband. In that said you truly.
He said this is true. You are telling the truth in what you're saying, that you don't have a husband. But he told her that you had 5 husbands. Now everybody say she was a whore because she was doing this. But if she actually was committing adultery, what was supposed to happen to her? She was supposed to be stoned to death. But she don't get stoned. But it's something that she's looking for in men that she can't get. Now remember Rachel and Leah. What did Leah want more than anything?
Child.
Children. And she couldn't have children. So it was like, I'm useless. So I want children so bad. Here, take my handmaid and bring forth children in that light, in that way. Right? She wants children, but she can't have them. This is a great blessing. Her husbands are putting her away, getting rid of her. They are divorcing her. Right? If she was committing adultery again, she would be stoned to death. Right? Read that last verse again.
Verse 18. For you have had 5 husbands, and he whom you now have is not your husband. In that said you truly.
And what?
And that said you truly.
It's just the truth. Now, she's not about to make up an excuse and say, well, they all walked out on me and this, that, and the third like we would do now. Watch what she say. Read.
The woman said unto him, Sir, I perceive that you are a prophet.
I can tell you a prophet. Read.
Our fathers worshipped in this mountain, and you say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship.
So notice she says, our fathers worship in this mountain. This woman got some understanding, because she is where the northern kingdom was at. She understands this stuff. Our fathers worship in this mountain, but you say Jerusalem. So think back to Jeroboam switching the place of worship. She confused, right? Read. Jeroboam or Rehoboam, one of the bones.
One of the bone brothers.
One of them, I don't know.
Yeshua said unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour comes when you shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father.
Do what?
You shall neither at this mountain, in this mountain, nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father.
So, in this mountain or in Jerusalem, worship the Father. So her whole thing is he's hitting her with little blows and she coming back. But she not making no excuses up for what she has been doing. Remember, Rachel says, if I have a child, then my husband will love me. Right? The whole thing is she wanted a child. This woman right here has been being rejected the whole time. She's been searching for something. We all are born with a hole in our heart, and we all searching for something to fill it. This goes back to the pursuit of happiness, goes back to the lesson about the love as opposed to happiness, all of these things, because this is what this woman has been searching for her whole life. I want you to notice, he don't tell her, go and sin no more and do these things. He don't say that to her. We're going to find out. Read on. Verse 22.
Verse 22. You worship, you know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Yahudim. But the hour comes, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in Ruach and in truth. For the Father seeks such to worship him. Elohim is a Ruach, and they that worship him must worship him in Ruach and in truth. The woman said unto him, I know that Messiah is come.
I know that it's a Messiah coming. She know the book. She expecting a Messiah to come. Read.
Which is called Hamashiach. When he is come, he will tell us all things.
She's waiting for him. This is what she's showing. When he come, he going to show us all things. This is the first person, if I'm not mistaken, that he revealed who he is. The disciples been trying to get it out of him all the time, but he lets her know. Read.
Yeshua said unto her, I that speak unto you am he.
He let her know. The guy you've been serving for your whole life, the living water, I'm him. I'm the guy. All them husbands that you had, they couldn't do it for you. I'm the one. I'm the living water that came. I'm going to satisfy you. Let's see if she rejects. Read.
And upon this came his disciples and marveled that he talked with the woman.
Hey, he talking with her. You know we don't deal with them. Read.
Yet no man said, what seekest you? Or why talk you with her? The woman then left her water pot.
Notice she left the water pot. She didn't take the thing that you can drink from with her. She left it. Read.
The woman then left her water pot and went her way into the city and says to the men, come, see a man which told me all things that I ever did. Is not he Hamashiach?
It's got to be the Messiah. Now, she's going to him as a witness. She's going and bragging about him. But she didn't say, he healed my hand. He did this. Her witness is, he told me about the 5 husbands that I got. And since he told me about the 5 husbands that I got, I believe. It wasn't a miracle that he did. He just told her about herself. And she believed, and guess what she do? She don't go and come with an elaborate teaching to show, look how I flip these precepts on you. She told him what just happened. That's it. Again, your life is your witness. The way that you live it is your witness. Not if you can go through these precepts, 1,000 precepts. She don't do that. Read that verse again. Verse 29.
Come, see a man which told me all things that I ever did. Is not this Hamashiach? Then they went out of the city and came unto him. In the meanwhile his disciples prayed him, saying, Master, eat. But he said unto them, I have meat to eat that you know not of. Therefore, says the disciples one to another, have any man brought him out any to eat? Yeshua said unto them,
All right, jump down to verse 39.
Verse 39, and many of the Samaritans of that city believed on him for the saying of the woman.
For what?
For the saying of the woman.
For the saying of the woman. She didn't go and flip no precepts. She didn't do nothing. She just came and told them what happened. Her testimony convinced these people, right? Her testimony convinced them. Well, let's see. She was a woman. She was thirsting for righteousness for all this time, and she was trying to find it in men. The next guy gonna do it for me. I can probably get happy, and my husband will love me. She was searching for something, and she came to a well to drink something. Let's tie it in to go to the law so we can understand what this is really talking about. Hold that. Give me Numbers chapter 5, verse 16.
Oh my goodness.
Stop playing with me.
Oh my goodness.
The book of Numbers, chapter 5, and verse 16.
Oh.
And the priest shall bring her near and set her before Yahuwah.
She'll do what?
Bring her near and set her before Yahuwah.
She's going to bring her near and set her before Yahuwah. And there's somebody that's there called the high priest. Mashiach is what to us? He's our high priest. Read.
And the priest shall take set apart water in an earthen vessel.
What kind of water?
Set apart water.
He told you, if you do this, I'm going to give you the living water. I'm going to give you the water that you will never thirst from. Read.
In an earthen vessel, and of the dust that is in the floor of the tabernacle.
So just like Trav Lesson was talking about, he is in the earthen vessel when he came down. Read.
And dust that is in the floor of the tabernacle, the priest shall take and put it into the water. And the priest shall set the woman before Yahuwah and uncover the woman's head.
Read.
And put the offering of memorial.
He said he's going to uncover her head. He's going to bring her shame out in the open. This is what he's doing with that woman. He's bringing the shame out to her. You've had 5 husbands. He's uncovering her head and letting everybody see it. Read it again.
And the priest shall set the woman before Yahuwah and uncover the woman's head and put the offering of memorial in her hands, which is the jealousy offering. And the priest shall have in his hand the bitter water.
The what kind of water?
The bitter water.
The bitter water, read.
That causes the curse.
That causes what?
The curse.
Causes the curse. I want you to notice that she put the water down. She didn't drink it. Who drank that water for the world? He did. Mashiach took the cup which she was supposed to drink, and he drank it, which was showing us, since she didn't reject what he had for her, he took the cup for her. Now remember, Esau rejected something for something that was absolutely nothing. Give me John chapter 6 and verse 33.
The book of John chapter 6 and verse 33. For the bread of Elohim is he which comes down from Shamayim and gives life unto the world. Then said they unto him, Master, evermore give us this bread.
Do what?
Give us this bread.
Read.
And Yeshua said unto them, I am the bread of life.
I am what?
I am the bread of life.
So when Esau rejected the birthright, he was actually rejecting Mashiach for absolutely nothing. But the woman didn't reject him. This is why he hated Esau, because it says, and he despised his birthright. You gave me up for absolutely nothing. But this woman took him, and we know that he really wasn't about to die. Jacob and them was wealthy, had plenty of money. Isaac and them was all wealthy. We know he really wasn't hungry, but he was a man given to appetite. So let's get Philippians chapter 2, verse 5. So in Isaiah 53, verse 10, it tells us that it pleased the Father to bruise him. Like if you pleased him to bruise him, but it's for a reason. Read.
Philippians chapter 2 and verse, you said verse 5?
Yep.
And verse 5. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Yeshua HaMashiach, who being in the form of Elohim, thought it not robbery to be equal with Elohim, but made himself of no reputation.
Of what?
Of no reputation.
No pride. Read.
And took upon him the form of a servant.
The form of what?
A servant.
Read.
And was made in the likeness of men. And being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself.
He did what?
He humbled himself.
Read.
And became obedient unto death.
Unto what?
Unto death.
Unto death. That cup that woman was supposed to drink, that we all are supposed to drink, he drank it for us. Even unto death. Esau gave the bread of life away for ramen noodles. He gave it away for absolutely nothing, because he was a man given to appetite. Crazy, right? No way that you will do this. And we know that they knew better, because Jacob went through all types of measures to get the birthright, because he knew what it entailed. But this guy gave it up for absolutely nothing. Let's get 1 Kings chapter 13, verse 7.
First Kings chapter 13 and verse 7. And the king said unto the man of Elohim, Come home with me, and refresh yourself, and I will give you a reward.
I'll do what?
I will give you a reward.
Read.
And the man of Elohim said unto the king, If you will give me half your house, then I will not go in with you.
Same thing Balaam said in the beginning. Read.
Neither will I eat bread nor drink water in this place. For so was it charged me by the word of Yahuwah, saying, Eat no bread, nor drink water, nor turn again by the same way that you came. So he went another way and returned not the way he came to Bethel. Now there dwelt an old prophet in Bethel, and his sons came and told him all the works that the man of Elohim had done that day in Bethel, the words which he had spoken unto the king. Them they told also to their father. And their father said unto them, What way went he? For his sons had seen what way the man of Elohim went, which came from Judah.
So remember they asked him, it says, come back to the house and so you can refresh yourself. Read.
Which came from Judah. And he said unto his sons, Saddle me my donkey. So they saddled him his donkey, and he rode thereon, and went after the man of Elohim, and found him sitting under an oak.
Doing what?
Sitting under an oak.
So he didn't stop and, want to sip him some lemonade, got his feet up, resting. He a little bit tired. So they catch him quick and easy. Read.
And he said unto him, Are you the man of Elohim that came from Judah? And he said, I am. Then he said unto him, Come home with me and eat bread. And he said, I may not return with you, nor go excuse me. Nor go in with you. Neither will I eat bread nor drink water with you in this place. For it was said to me by the word of Yahuwah, You shall not eat bread. You shall eat no bread, nor drink water there, nor turn again to go by the way which you came. He said unto him, I am a prophet also.
So it just showed us that he fully understands the commandment that was given to him. It was told to me that I should eat no bread or drink no water or go by the way that I just came. He fully understands what was told to him. Read.
He said unto him, I am a prophet also, as you are. And the Malach spake unto me by the word of Yahuwah, saying, Bring him back with you into your house, that he may eat bread and drink water. But he lied unto him.
But he did what?
But he lied unto him.
But he did what? He lied to him. So you got clear orders of what Yah told you, and you take somebody else's orders. Read.
So he went back with him, and did eat bread in his house, and drank water.
Why did he go back with him for real?
He was a man given an appetite.
This is what you wanted to do in the first place. You knew this was a lie, but you went back anyway. Even though, because this what was in you, and you were a man given to appetite. Read.
And it came to pass, as they sat at the table, that the word of Yahuwah came unto the prophet that brought him back. And he carried unto the man of Elohim that came from Judah. And he cried unto the man of Elohim that came from Judah, saying, Thus saith Yahuwah, for as much as you have disobeyed the mouth of Yahuwah, and have not kept the commandment which Yahuwah, your Elohim, command you, but came back and have eaten bread and drunk water in the place of which Yahuwah did say to eat no bread and drink no water, your carcass shall not come unto the sepulchre of your fathers.
He said, because you ate and drank, this man just lost his life because he couldn't control his belly. Think about that. Now your kids and your wife is a widow and they fatherless because you couldn't control your belly. Because this is what you wanted to do in the first place. But now we got to find out, why is the food that we eating, why is it so addictive? Give me that video out. We're going to see a couple of things. So Revelations 18:23, he says that by your sorcery, he says by your sorcery shall all nations be deceived. Think it's gonna be able to hear it?
Yeah, it should. It's right next to the mic. Angle that camera down. So keep going. That's good.
couple of things to show.
That's good. Yeah. But the mic right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just hit the space bar.
But the same way there's big oil and big tobacco, for poultry, there's big chicken. Big Chicken produces over 99% of all the poultry consumed in the U.S., most of which is supplied by only 5 vertically integrated corporations: Tyson, Pilgrims, Sanderson Farms, Cook Foods, and Purdue. And these 5 companies control practically everything, from the breeder farms to the egg hatcheries, the feed mills, grow-out conditions, and the processing plants. Big Chicken dictates almost every part of the process. Look at it this way. The next time you're wondering which came first, the chicken or the egg, turns out it's Big Chicken.
Here's how it works. We will provide the birds, the feed.
Okay.
You, as a grower, you'll be responsible for all the costs associated with the building, the land, plus the utility costs and the labor.
Okay, like how much is the cost for one house?
So I would recommend starting out with 4. That's $1.6 million.
Okay.
The standard is going to be an 80-20 loan.
Please visit another place in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
1 second, I'm sorry, I'm just writing this down.
Thank you for calling Live Oak.
Josh.
Hey Josh, how you doing? I'm a first-time chicken grower. I was wanting to call about getting a loan for my chicken farm.
Okay. What's your name?
Morgan?
Mm-hmm.
Spurlock, Spurlock.
Are you a filmmaker?
Am I a filmmaker? Yeah, and a chicken farmer.
Are you a documentary filmmaker?
I am.
Gotcha. Give me a little bit of time here and I'll give you a call back.
Clearly, if I'm going to do this, God damn it, I'll need to find a way around Big Chicken. Out of business.
We're fine.
But finding an independent hatchery is easier said than done.
How many birds do you need?
How many birds could I get? Murray McMurray is one of the few remaining independent hatcheries in the U.S. They've been hatching chickens for over a century and offer over 100 different varieties of birds. But today, I'm all about the broilers, also known as meat chickens, also known as the most popular chicken on earth.
So it's saying that you the only ones that can actually do it naturally.
No, I said that's an independent hatchery. They ain't part of the Big 5.
Your business idea needs a website? So go to Wix.com. What are you waiting for? Today's the day.
This is the FreeJet 330TX.
Multiple ads.
Your chicks are in here. Look at you, you're out. Oh, good job. Good job getting out. Happy birthday. In 6 weeks.
these guys will be ready for the dinner plate.
Stop it right there.
Wow.
He said in 6 weeks, these guys are going to be ready for the dinner table. Now, if we go through it, it's going to show you that the old process that they was doing, it was 20 weeks, but through the science and the hormones and all of the stuff that they doing to them, they done dropped it down to 6 weeks. Play it again.
Let's go meet your friends.
This little guy, he's just one of more than 9 billion broiler chicks hatched in the U.S. each year.
Come here.
Their sole purpose in life is to grow fast and to get in our bellies.
That is so incredible.
Your birds are in here.
Oh man, that is a lot of chickens. Look at all my guys. Holy cow.
These are Ross crosses, large double breast, fast-growing breed.
Any other kind of fast food restaurant, they'd have these same kind of chickens.
They would have these same kind.
Okay.
And if you were to go to the grocery store, this is what you would be buying. They're specially bred for the meat.
Everything, these are all of the restaurants, all of the grocery stores got these same chickens that they've been fed this stuff to fast grow. So when you wonder how the kids getting so big so fast, because you're eating something in here that's causing this. The reason why a lot of young girls, no, we're gonna keep it. The reason why a lot of young girls get in their cycles and stuff, because this stuff is in it and it's poisoning. We got sick people talking about if it's grass on the field, play ball, or all of this type of stuff, not knowing it's something in this that's causing this addiction. Right? Take it to the 43-minute mark. One moment, y'all. Bear with me.
Natural?
100% natural.
All natural is the most misleading.
So, again, so we go to the grocery store and we look at this pack and it says organic, all natural, free range, all of these different things.
Full Sail University is a place where creative dreamers go to learn their craft.
Yeah.
Right? Claim.
They tell us all of these things and you read it and say, oh wow, this is good. See, it's free range. It don't got that stuff in it. But watch.
100% natural?
100% natural.
All natural is the most misleading claim on meat and poultry products.
All natural is organic? Organic, I guess.
The average consumer appears to think all natural is very similar to organic.
All natural, organic, it's the same.
How the land is treated and how the animals are treated, what they're fed, whether they get antibiotics. It means none of those things. All natural, according to the United States Department of Agriculture, means minimally processed, no artificial ingredients. Only means what happens to the product after the animal is killed and has nothing to do with how the animal is raised.
So, all natural, hormone-free, what does that mean?
They don't put hormones in their food to make them grow faster.
That's where they inject the chemicals into a chicken.
They get absorbed into the muscle, into the fat of the chicken and the meat. We eat that.
And I'm one of those people at the grocery store that will spend the extra and buy the no hormone injected meats. And I do the best I can.
Without any added hormones.
Grown with no added hormones.
By law, poultry cannot receive hormones. And yet producers can make that claim.
Well, Foster Farms chicken has no added hormones. Well, I wish you didn't have any added negativity.
No hormones added. If a chicken is cage-free, what does that mean?
Cage-free?
Cage-free chicken would be a cousin of a free-range chicken.
They're still within quarters, but just not in those small little containers.
And that's good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cage-free. We consider that misleading. Meat chickens in the United States have never been raised in cages.
Cage-free. What about a label that says humanely raised? What does that mean?
It's not raised in a cruel, unnatural condition.
Like if you're gonna eat meat, I'd rather it be like ethically treated.
Yeah.
And then for some things, like humane, they allow the producer to define the claim.
So,
I'm going to say humanely raised means chickens raised humanely on a family farm in a stress-free environment. Our farmers always handle the birds with care and respect. So now my free-range, cage-free, no hormones added, humanely raised, 100% natural chickens can get the USDA's seal of approval. Some pretty good bullshit.
That slips.
Okay. So as you can see, hold it right there. As you can see, you can say anything that you want to say on the package. You can put it however you want to say, even though it ain't true. Free range means that they got access to come outside, but they really don't come outside. But they can put it on the package and tell you antibiotic free. It's nothing. And he already showed you that these are the same chickens. Go from a baby bird, 6 weeks later, he on your plate. This is a Terminator type of chicken. This is a hawk chicken that you eating. In 1950 something, a chicken weighed 2 pounds. Now they weighing 8 and 9 pounds. If we watch this whole thing and show you this man's chickens was killing over, having heart attacks and dying because they was too big to hold themselves up.
In less than half the time.
Yeah, exactly, in less than half the time. So if a human was doing this as a baby, this baby would weigh like 100 and something pounds immediately as a baby at about 4 or 5 months. It's unnatural. You can't do this. Just go to that next video. It's on the other.
Yeah, just hit escape. And then it's in the other tab.
Oh, this one.
Play it. I got it set.
Of the American Diabetes Association is
so all of the major companies that's supposed to be fighting the diseases, you're going to find out they're not fighting the diseases, they're actually behind it and promoting these things, right? Even though they're supposed to, the National Diabetes place, they're supposed to tell you how not to get it, but they actually promoting the stuff that will make you sick.
So they can get their money.
Exactly, it's all about money. Play that joint.
To identify a prevention and a cure for diabetes, but in the meantime, to improve the lives of all people who are affected by diabetes.
And what's the best way to prevent this?
For type 2 diabetes, it's unclear. We can't prevent type 2 diabetes in everybody.
When we're doing research, we came across a lot of studies that said that you actually could potentially cure or reverse diabetes with a purely plant-based diet.
I don't believe there's sufficient evidence to demonstrate that.
How does it compare to the ADA diet that you recommend?
We don't recommend a specific diet. We recommend healthy eating.
The one that's on the website.
We recommend healthy eating. Do
you have a whole list of exact day-to-day, the meal plan, the whole meal plan?
All they are selections of foods to consider. We do not have a diabetes diet.
But with that selections, that you consider that plan compared to a plant-based plan?
No one's done that study.
We found actually some studies, that a 74-week study found that low-fat vegan diet versus the ADA plan in type 2.
I think we're done here. I'm not gonna get into an argument about.
Oh no, I was just wanting the studies of if this is true or if it shows that. Or
any diet works. Any diet works if people follow it.
But if it's a diet that's not the proper diet, like if anyone follows a diet that they eat
I can't tell you what a proper diet is. I can tell you what an improper diet is.
So then we can talk about the good diets. I'm not sure why.
I'm not going to get into that.
Into diet?
No. If that's where you want to go with this, I'm sorry, I'm not the person that you should be talking to.
And why is that though?
If that's what you want to get into, I'm not the person you need to be talking to.
Who do we talk to about diet?
You can talk to anybody you want.
But that's interesting, though. Why not recommended dietary
Because the
stuff?
data don't exist to support
But if
it.
we see data that we looked up that supports it with, like, you know, the NIH, in Europe, the European Association of Diet.
We're done. I'm sorry. I'm not going to get into that argument with you.
No, it's not an argument.
I'm not going to get into the argument.
Why is it an argument? It's just talking about in European study of diabetes and other places that have studies why.
There are lots of studies.
Why is it even an argument?
There are lots of studies in the literature, many of which have never been replicated or, frankly, are wrong. That's why we do peer review, okay?
The European Association of Study of Diabetes has been peer reviewed? Or
I don't know what study you're referring to, and in the absence of being able to see that study, I'm not going to comment.
I could show it to you.
I'm sorry, I don't have the time for that.
I just don't understand why it's an argument, though. Okay.
That was interesting. What he wanted to talk about was people living longer with diabetes. But once you mention eliminating diabetes or prevention, oh, whoa, now you cross the line. Prevention and cure, whoa, let's not go there. Not only did Dr. Ratner...
So we're going to see there is no money in curing these things. I must keep you sick all the time. If I keep you sick, we can keep making money out of you. So remember, read me Revelation 18:23 one more time.
Revelations 18:23. And the light of the candle shall shine no more at all in you. And the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in you. For your merchants were the great men of the earth, for by your sorceries were all nations deceived.
So by your sorcery, again, this comes out to pharmakia or pharmacy. So let's see who behind this stuff. Play that video again.
$1 million promoting their goods through checkoff programs. We know that they spend at least $138 million lobbying Congress. We expect that they spend a good deal more than that in figures that simply aren't publicly disclosed.
The industry's lobbying power is so strong that they can create laws and push through legislation that doesn't benefit Americans in any way, such as ag-gag laws that criminalize whistleblowing or photographing abuses by this industry. Activists in the U.S. can be charged as terrorists for disrupting the profits of any business that uses animals under the Animal Enterprise Terrorism Act, to the even more ridiculous ones like cheeseburger laws.
A cheeseburger law is a law that says a plaintiff cannot recover against a manufacturer, distributor, or retailer on the theory that the food made the plaintiff obese or caused an obesity-related disease.
Cheeseburger laws are a direct response to a problem that the tobacco industry has had. Big Tobacco has paid $400 billion to state Medicaid programs. Cheeseburger laws proponents say, we don't want to see the same kind of thing happen to the meat and dairy industries. The fact that these laws are based on a model template called the Common Sense Consumption Act is actually ironic, because what they're saying is, you, the consumer, should have the common sense to know that our food is bad for you.
I've often typified the meat industry to people who maybe don't understand its power and reach as it's got all the money of big tobacco and big pharma, and it has the personality of the National Rifle Association. So any little thing that comes up, man, they beat it to death.
Robert Martin wasn't exaggerating. When the profits of the egg industry were threatened by egg alternative company Hampton Creek Foods, extremely disturbing emails were uncovered by Ryan Shapiro and Jeffrey Light.
We uncovered documents demonstrating the American Egg Board considers Hampton Creek, quote, a crisis and major threat to the future of the American egg industry. The American Egg Board considers a successful egg replacer company to be such a threat that they joke on their government email addresses about murdering the CEO.
In internal government emails with the heads of the egg industry, they suggest having the CEO of Hampton Creek, Josh Tetrick, murdered, including a menacing email from the executive director of the American Egg Board.
The meat producers don't have to pay for the heart disease or the environmental destruction or any of the other externalities, as economists call them, that their products cause.
You know, then there's the whole pharmaceutical aspect of it, and the fact that there's a very strong pharmaceutical industry and lobby that has a huge stake in preserving the status quo.
These chronic diseases, these are the cash cows of the pharmaceutical industry. You have a $5 billion stent industry. Do they ever want to see that go away? We've got a $35 billion statin drug industry. Do they ever want to see that go away?
I'm talking about the pharmaceutical industry effectively controls what doctors are told.
Most research isn't put into prevention, it's put into the medication that we might use for that particular disease.
I'm on 2 different high blood pressure medicines, 6 asthma type medicines, even after 4 years of shots. And then another medicine to help take care of side effects from some of those medicines. I'm on high-level antidepressants, a couple of different pain meds for my back and hips.
I'm taking about 16 drugs, not counting the insulin in the morning. I take insulin morning, insulin night, 32 to 34 units of insulin. Lantus, to be exact. Some of these meds are for diabetes. This is for peeing. I have to use this for my prostate, and then I have to use this for the heart, and I have to use this for blood pressure. And it's just on and on and on and on. The doctors are telling me this is what I've got to do for my whole life, and it's frustrating, and it's very stressful, and I don't know how long my liver's going to last taking all this stuff.
Under conventional
So these people that they just interviewed, they went on a vegan diet, and in 2 weeks, all of this stuff was reversed. That first woman, she stopped taking this stuff, and she lost a lot of weight. Before she did this, she was about to have her hips replaced because she was so heavy. All of them pills, she stopped taking them when she went on a plant-based diet. This guy right here cut down mostly half of almost everything that he was taking, except for a couple of things that he stopped this stuff. Just going vegan or being a vegetarian and cutting the meat stuff out of the diet. Play it again.
medical treatment, whether it be for autoimmune disease or even conditions like high blood pressure or diabetes, you're told that you have to take drugs. And not just for a week or a month or a year. You're told you have to take drugs forever. You're guaranteed that if you follow your doctor's advice, you'll be sick forever. You'll never get well. That's the guarantee. Because the strategies are all about manipulating the symptoms, not dealing with the underlying cause.
You come in with that diagnosis, you get a bunch of pills that have nothing to do with the disease causation, or you get these procedures that have nothing to do with disease causation.
It's a deception to say this pill will help you unclog your arteries, this one will save you from a stroke. No, it doesn't. The people who take the statins, etc., they still get their heart attacks, they still get their strokes. This does not reverse disease. This does not make plaques smaller. This is a fraud of massive proportions.
In the U.S., treating chronic disease such as heart disease, cancer, and diabetes is a $1.5 trillion industry. That's the GDP equivalent of the 10th richest country in the world. I went back and dug deeper into the health organization's funding, and there it was again. These organizations were accepting millions of dollars from pharmaceutical companies that are making billions of dollars from the very same diseases these health groups are supposedly trying to end. It seemed like a major conflict of interest, unless ending these diseases isn't really the goal. The pharmaceutical industry spends more money on lobbying than any other single industry. Just like animal agriculture, they are so powerful they write their own laws that have had activists imprisoned to silence them.
Government's in bed with anyone that gives them the most money, which is the pharmaceutical industry, which is the animal ag industries. Like, they are pumping the government full of money and resources, and in return the government's giving them what they want: subsidies, imprisoning activists that go against them. And I think it's quite telling that these industries are working so hard and spending so much money to criminalize people for simply taking a picture, for simply recording what's going on inside these facilities and making it known to the public. They're behind walls. They're underground. They're in these secret facilities that no one knows about. But if they did, they would be shocked and outraged. And I think people would not want to think that they're pharmaceuticals, that their food are coming from these places. And that's why I think the ag laws are what they are, is because they are trying to silence people into not speaking out and not showing the truth.
I finally realized how deep the collusion truly is between government and these industries, and how dangerous it could be to expose them. These concerns intensified after meeting the USDA whistleblower who revealed mad cow disease in the U.S. meat supply.
USDA operates like the military. So when I got on TV and that, right away USDA sent out memos to all the veterinarians and food inspectors. If anybody from the media ever contacts you, do not talk to them. Refer them to Washington, D.C., and we will talk to them. So right away, shut up everybody. The American public should be very, very concerned about this. What's going on with USDA? Here in the United States, we have at least 4 cases of mad cow disease, but I'm almost positive there's more cases than that, but the government isn't looking for it.
So what you're saying is that there could be already mad cow disease in humans.
Right, and I think a lot of it was misdiagnosed. With the Alzheimer's or dementia, it takes several years, you see the progression, but to make it easier, these doctors just sign off on it as dementia or Alzheimer's without actually taking a biopsy of the brain to see if it's that, or is it actually a prion disease like Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease or mad cow disease.
Do you think it's safe to eat meat?
I personally don't think it's safe to eat it because of the fact how the line speeds are increasing and also our inspectors are not well trained enough. At the present time, the line speed now is going about 220 cows an hour. That gives you about somewhere around 4 cows per minute, so that's 15 seconds per cow.
These dangerous slaughter speeds means that animal waste ends up everywhere. Testing shows 88% of pork chops are contaminated with fecal bacteria, 90% of ground beef, and 95% of chicken breast sample contain animal waste bacteria. There is nothing clean about eating this way. But it just isn't waste, it's also pus-filled infections.
You can see there's a bump or some kind of abscess underneath the hide. Most of the time when the hide's pulled off, either that will open up the abscess and the pus will come out, or if it's deep-seated, when the inspectors are doing their work or the company employees, they might stick their knife into an abscess and it explodes all over the place.
I had heard enough. I was utterly disgusted by the corruption, the greed, the disease, and the abuse I was learning about. The very animals we were killing us and the planet. But so many people eat meat and dairy every day of their lives. And we are so concerned about getting enough protein. Do we have to eat meat to get complete protein?
Oh my God. You want me to jump off this building, don't you? Well, first of all protein is made by plants. I'll state that again for the record. All protein is initially made by plants. All of it. And it...
So, all right, we're done. So we can see that this is a farce that they are perpetuating and having you eat these things which are no good, right? So they have an agency called the FDA. Every country has their own version of it, but they all work together. That's how they import and export everything. But the one here is called the Food and Drug Administration. Now ask yourself, what does food and drugs have to do with each other? Why are they mentioned with each other? Because the reason why they're so addictive is because these animals are drugged. The reason why you are addicted to the chicken and the meat and all of the different stuff is because they injected it with something that MSG and another thing called lectin. The reason why you can't stop and you can't let it go, the junk food, you can't let it go because it's doing something to the chemicals in your brain that makes you lose all self-control and eat your way to death. Now all of these people that's been sick for the last month or so with this stuff, y'all let most of them go to the brink of feeling like they was about to die, right? So think back when we was in the world and we used to drink and get drunk, and you would be so sick and feel like, oh my God, please y'all just let me come down from this. If you let me come down from it, I'll never drink it again. Please. And the next week, you was right back at it, doing it again. But this one, he let it go on and on and on. And I was sick myself. Right as I come here, I missed his funeral because I was sick for a couple of days. And coming out of that sickness, something hit me. I don't ever want to be sick again. I started doing herbs at that moment, but I've been sicker than that before. But something that one made me say, I don't want to be sick again. And that's when I realized most of this stuff is self-inflicted because of what we are eating. So he got to let you go all the way to the brink. I ain't going to even go to the story because I know we've been going a minute. But when Pharaoh was in Egypt, when we was in Egypt, and the Most High kept sending Moses back to Pharaoh and say, let my people go. And he will put a plague on them. And Pharaoh will feel like this is the worst. These frogs is too much. I can't take it. The frogs is everywhere. As soon as he took the frogs away, he'd go right back to who he is. Just like we would say, if you take this drinking away from me, if you just bring me down, I'll never drink again. And the next week we go right back to it again. With this, the same exact thing. Now, if you were sick as you said that you was, and you go back to eating what you was eating before, and you know that this is the cause that let your immune system be this low, it is something wrong with you. You have the pride of Pharaoh. That's what this is showing us, that you have the pride of Pharaoh. Soon as the lights came, oh, Moses, please go to your God. We've sinned. Tell him to take it away. And it says, as soon as there was relief, he sinned again. He went right back to it. Just like when we was drinking and getting drunk, we go right back to it. So the first sin in the book goes back to Adam and Eve, and it was over what? Food. So if it was the first sin in the beginning, guess what you're going to be faced with at the end? Something about food. Going to play a role in it. So we know in Genesis chapter 47, verse 15 on out, that the people sold themselves for food. Sound bizarre and crazy, but they actually did it. So he tempted them with food. Now, let's get this. Matthew chapter 4, verse 1.
The book of Matthew, chapter 4, and verse 1.
So when they was tempted with the food, they failed the test miserably. Read.
Then was Yeshua led up of the Ruach into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights.
How long?
40 days and 40 nights.
Same thing with Moses. Moses came down and they was eating and drinking. Moses resisted. Read.
He was afterward hungered. And when the tempter came to him, he said, if you be the son of Elohim, command that these stones be made bread. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone.
By what?
By bread alone.
But by what?
But by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Elohim.
I wish Esau would have known that. He should have known that, right? But he didn't. Or he did, but his belly overruled him. Read.
Then the devil will take him up into the set apart city and sets him.
Okay, we good right there. So again, he's tempted with food because he's hungry, but he passes. You're supposed to live by this. Esau thought that he was about to die. It says, he that saves his life shall lose it, and he that loses his life for my sake shall save it. He dismissed Mashiach to save his life for a little while, but lost eternity. That's how silly this is. Matthew 6 and verse 16.
Matthew 6 and 16. Moreover, when you fast.
When you do what?
When you fast.
No, that says if you fast.
When you fast.
If you fast.
When you fast.
He says when you fast, meaning that you're going to do it. Now, what's the reason that you fast? Because you can overcome the belly god. When you fast, you show the belly god that I'm in charge. I don't have to eat until I'm actually really hungry. Not just because I smell something, just because I see something, not because I heard a commercial on the radio, not because I came in your house and the aroma got me, but I'm in control. This is what fasting really is for, to put the belly god to rest, to show him I am the boss. Right? Seems like the most simple thing in the world, but obviously it's not. Because the belly god wants what it wants. Get up and go get some snacks. It's movie night. You and your wife and the kids, y'all about to watch some movies. Go get the whole bag of popcorn. You know you're going to come back. Matter of fact, bring the soda and the pop and put it next to the bed so you don't got to keep going in there. Get up and feed me right now.
Matter of fact, buy you a little refrigerator and just keep it
Exactly.
in
Yeah, exactly. I got a little refrigerator next to the bed. We didn't got to go back in there. It's a bully, it's beast. You get up and do it now. Go get the whole bag. Eat the whole M&Ms. All of them.
No popcorn vegan.
Go get it all with all that butter and stuff on it.
Get the coconut.
Right?
Right, yeah, coconut.
As soon as you wake back up, you fell asleep on the movie. Reach right over.
I don't even care about the movie that was.
So this is what being able to fast is, showing the belly god, I'm in control. I eat when I'm hungry, not because you tell me I am. When you know better that you're not. And if you don't get control of the belly god, it's going to be a long ride for you in the end. If you go out and get all that poisonous meat that they just showed you about on the video, guess what? It's going to make you even hungrier. It's going to make you even hungrier. Read that verse one more time.
Matthew 6:16. Moreover, when you fast, be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their face, that they may appear unto men to fast.
So this ain't for you to boast and say, oh, I don't need to eat. You know what I'm saying? I got control of it. You know, like the Pharisees was bragging about being able to fast. But it's really is to control the belly god, to show it. I do it when I want to do it. Remember, Matthew 5 and verse 6 says, blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness. And with that, we say, shalom.
Shalom.
I digress.
If y'all didn't see it, wanted to know that the documentaries were What the Health and Supersize Me Part 2.
You like it, you love it. Don't do it again. Stop trying to take my meat from me.
Please watch the joints for yourself and understand this. Also, go back and watch Earthlings. It's going to show you again the way that this stuff is handled. This is the reason why we're so sick. So, I gotta add something. So, I know they about to be mad at this little piece, but check it. There's an herb that some of my brothers like to partake in. Right? And I've never touched the stuff before in my life. I've never smoked in my life, so I don't understand it. But they say when I do it, when I smoke it, it gives me something called the munchies. And this is an uncontrollable type of appetite where I can't stop eating. Whatever is there, I just can't stop. That means you're going to be a man given to appetite. So let me stop right there. Don't text me, please. Don't hit me up. It's all good. If that's what you choose, cool with me. But I had to put that in.
So that is aiding the belly god.
Absolutely.
You can't control it.
So I never smoked, so I've never had the munchies before. But from all the people that I've known in my 50 years, that's what they say happened to them. Could be a lie.
Uncontrollable lust. It's an herb, though, ain't it? It's an herb that make you hungry.
So again, You get so sick. Our people were so sick doing this sickness that was going around, that the same thing that they was eating that caused the immune system to go down and be so weak, the Most High took your appetite away from you. Now you can't eat. Now you want to eat, but you can't eat. I got to get them toxins out you. We say we got to go on what we call a detox. Why you got a detox? Oh, because you've been eating something that's toxic. We got to leave these toxic relationships and this, that, and the third, but we eating toxic. And I know I'm trying to do better myself, because I don't want to get sick again, and I don't want the belly God to rule me.
Another thing too, now we're talking about the toxins and the detox. One of the other things that you addicted to that they hide, and it ain't just the meat, but it's the condiments, the meat, it's the sugar. The sugar and the salt. The sugar and the salt are definitely addictive. So like in all the condiments and salad dressing and ketchup, and like you can have a salad, but you mess around and you drown that thing in ranch dressing. You got, that's dairy, and it's full of sugar. It's full of sugar. Ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise. It's full of sugar. High fructose corn syrup and the like. So you gotta get back to, and I was talking about this not too long ago, but get back to reading your labels, checking what's in the ingredients. Sometimes even the vegan items, when it's too many ingredients, I don't even mess with it. Like, I've been glued to YouTube lately trying to figure out how to make this stuff myself. Right? I'm just gonna make my own, because there's too much stuff in this. They got too many oxides and too many prefixes and suffixes.
Even the joints that say natural sugar or whatever, it ain't the same. Like we done moved from eating stuff with, like it say sugar in there, to saying cane sugar, because you know that the cane sugar is from the cane. You know what I'm saying? If it say natural sugar or this type of sugar, that type of sugar, stay away from it. High fructose corn syrup, stay away from it. Like my aunt told me that the sugar, they say, is a molecule away from being, I think he said, heroin.
Oh, heroin.
A molecule away.
Is that addictive?
But they said they did a test with rats where they gave the rats sugar and heroin. And the rats that was addicted to the sugar was more addicted to the sugar than the rats that was addicted to the heroin. Sugar is more addicting than probably tobacco, you know. But and like I said, salt too. So when you detox, if you can get away from, or if you can use, like, you know, not iodized salt, but like pink Himalayan salt, or, you know, the good sea salt, you know, is much better for you. It's much more healthy, but it don't have you craving it. Cause that's that's like one of the big things with the meat is you crave that saltiness. Let's see what wanted to share with the family that my wife and I just made 33 years of married life. I give all this into you. Hallelujah. Donnie Israel and his wife are celebrating 33 years of marriage.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm still in the hospital. We still praying for you. Brother Malachi, James, Lyons, we still praying for you. Keep getting stronger.
Got a couple questions on there.
Yeah, and I'm not telling nobody that these meats are unclean or anything like that, or you're breaking the law because you're eating them. It's just, it is what it is. The way that it's prepared, it is no good. When we was in Babylon, he told you, build you houses, plant you gardens for a reason.
Somebody wants to know, is there any chosen seed located in Jacksonville, Florida? Is it who in Jacksonville? Oh, okay. And then, but it's I think Darius is in Jacksonville. I think Darius is in Jacksonville. Is it? Darius Ross when he from here, he came and visited him and his wife, and they came to the gathering.
Oh, okay.
I think they might be in Jacksonville. Yeah. I'll reach out to him. Randall Hall, send a an email with your contact information. I'll reach out to see if the doctor is in Jacksonville. I think he is in Jacksonville though, but you can send an email to chosen.seed1@gmail.com. Let's see. Nothing in America is organic. These people put in pork and everything. So same thing goes for beef. Family, please don't forget to get us less than thumbs up. Like, what is the name of that diabetes? I think he was talking about type 2 diabetes, the one that he said there's no cure for it. I think that was type 2.
You seen some questions in there, Trav?
Yeah, I don't see them.
What are they?
One of them is Leviticus 10:16-20. Why was this good to Moses? It says, as Moshe diligently looked for the goat of the sin offering and saw it was burned up, and he was wroth with Eleazar and Ithamar, the sons of Aharon, who were left, saying, why have you not eaten the sin offering in a Kodesh place, since it is most Kodesh? And Elohim has given it to you to bear the wickedness of the congregation, to make atonement for them before Yahuwah. See, its blood was not brought inside the Kodesh place. You should have eaten it without fail in a Kodesh place, as I have commanded. And Aharon said to Moses, see, today they have brought their sin offering and their burnt offering before Yahuwah, and have come upon me. If I had eaten the sin offering today, would it have been right in the eyes of Yahuwah? And when Moshe heard that, it was good in his eyes.
Okay, so this is when Aaron's sons had just died. So he is not in a good place or space at this moment, seeing his sons just died. So he didn't want to eat because at this moment he's sick. Because again, his chill, he's grieved right now. He can't eat, he don't want to eat the sin offering. This is why Moses says that it's good, because you got to go back and read beforehand and know that this man, 2 of his sons just died before this. So this is why he don't want to eat the sin offering.
Okay. Devin Brooks asks, what type of food should we eat for meat sometimes? I know we should grow our own vegetables. So he's saying when you eat meat, like what type of meat should you eat, or what should you eat to substitute the meat? I'm not really sure which you're asking, but I think if you're asking what meats you can eat, I would suggest if you're gonna eat meat to get it from the farm. And like I was just saying about the food pyramid, how the vegetables are the sides and the meat is the main entree. But really your meat consumption should probably be like 6 ounces like of meat, and the majority vegetables, because the diet should be plant-based. The foundation of it should be stuff that's grown. If you're gonna eat meat, I would say get it from, find a good source, a good farm that you know sells it. But apparently the hatcheries, even that you're getting them from, they're when they hatch them themselves, they're bad off the rip. If the bird is growing in 6 weeks, so you got to be very, very careful and do the research from where you get your meat from if you want to still consume meat. And if you want something to substitute meat, like there's a bunch of different things you can use to substitute like a protein. Like I know a lot of beans are high in protein, nuts, certain nuts. I've been experimenting with that Vital Wheat gluten. It's like dang near pure protein. It's all protein. I know some people can't have it, but you know, if you can consume gluten, I think that's a good source of protein. I haven't had any consequences behind consuming it.
So like he's saying you gotta go back. It says the Food and the Drug Administration. So these things are hand in hand. So when you do drugs or they sell weed or coke and all of this type of stuff, it goes by weight. The more that it weighs, the more the profit. So it's the same thing with the animals. I need to get this cow, I need to get this chicken, I need to get this pig or whatever it be as big as possible because it goes by the weight. So if this can cheat and get me farther along, so instead of this cow weighing 1,000 pounds, I can get it to weigh 1,200 pounds. That's more money for me. So it would really be best to do plants. Again, our people didn't eat meat every day. We only ate meat on occasions.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't, this wasn't an everyday thing. This is the Western world type of thing. And we see in Egypt, the meat had them lusting to go back. You know what I'm saying? So if you're gonna eat it in small increments. Definitely not every day. You know what I'm saying?
And not only are we eating it every day, we eating it with every meal. Right. You know, with every meal. So you gotta be careful. Plus, I don't know if y'all peeped that part in the documentary, but it was saying how 90% of ground beef is covered with fecal matter, and that's due to the way they being slaughtered in the slaughterhouses. It's an assembly line, and they saying that they slaughtering a cow every 15 seconds. So waste is going everywhere. So your ground meat, which we don't really wash ground meat, we don't wash it.
Because you can't, because you're gonna wash it away.
So it's got fecal matter on it. And you cooking it, what did it say you was gonna eat? With them, right? So that's why a few years back, me and my we went out to the Amish farm, and we kicked it with the Amish people where they sell the meat or whatever, and the way that they was killing everything, it was legit. But you could buy your if you in an area that have like an Amish farm, you can buy your poultry there, your chickens, your turkeys. But just be careful when we ask them about like the cows. They slaughter the cows in the same with the same utensils that they slaughter the pigs. So you gotta be mindful of that. But that may be a good source if you just have to eat meat, because like Mahakna said, and let's please reiterate that we're not saying that the meat is not lawful, but the meat that we're getting in the U.S. is not good for you because of the way that they're producing it, right? Just want to make that clear. Oh shoot!
We're breaking the dietary law. That joint.
Where you at?
Millie Locke.
That's the next question.
Yep.
What did you say?
Read it for me. Oh, I see it. Yeah. With breaking the dietary laws and sleeping with a woman on her, I'm thinking that's menstrual, fall under uncleanliness in regards to Galatians 5:19, or is it speaking about something else? Well,
it's definitely unclean.
Definitely, yeah, no
He
question.
tell you if you do this, you're unclean for 7 days, according to the law. So it's definitely unclean.
If you sleep with her on her menstrual, you was getting kicked out of the camp. So that's more than unclean. You know what I'm saying? Like this was something that he made you get away from everybody from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
super duper nasty.
Yeah, exactly. That's the perfect word. It's nasty, bro. Ain't no Red Wings. Ain't no, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, bro. That stuff ain't cool.
We say Galatians 5:19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, immolations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies. I would definitely think that that those actions would fall under this, because it's saying now the works of the flesh. Because if you are to the point where you lusting so bad that you have to have sex with a woman while she's on her cycle, like that's definitely works of the flesh.
Nasty, B.
And,
nasty, son.
And eating and the dietary and breaking the dietary law, like that's definitely like you're giving in to that belly god, because you can't control yourself. So you lose control to the point where you're going to eat something that's outside of the boundaries of the dietary law. It's definitely unclean.
When you look at verse 19 all the way down to 21, every sin that you can think of is within those verses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Every sin that you could think of.
Yeah, like I said,
because at verse 22 on down, he gave you the reverse. He said, against these, there is no law. You know what I'm saying? So these ones he mentioned above, you breaking all of them. So it definitely falls under that joint.
That's why they put peanuts on the bar to keep you drinking. Yeah, because that's salt. They get thirsty.
It says, so if fasting is conquering the belly god, how more significant is fasting during atonement?
Well,
or is fasting significant on the Day of Atonement since you're conquering the belly god?
Yeah, well, we discussed that on the Day of Atonement. You know, talking about, you know, as far as it being specific to fasting, more so being specific to self-denial, because there's definitely you definitely have to go through some type of deprivation when you're dealing with the Day of Atonement, because there has to be an affliction of yourself. So we was talking about that. I think that that is significant at any time. You know what I mean? But much more so, I think, during atonement, because you're going through a whole self-denial process where you're bringing your flesh into complete subjection, and fasting definitely does that. So I think that it's significant at all times, because even when the disciples came to Hamashiach, like, yo, why we couldn't cast that out? And they like, this kind don't come out but by prayer and by fasting. So that lets you know that fasting is definitely significant, even when it comes to tearing down strongholds and deliverance. Question, Deuteronomy chapter 8 verse 3, is this verse telling us to eat little and focus on the words of Yah? Going back to precept with Matthew chapter 4.
What chapter you said?
Deuteronomy 8 and verse 3. It says, and he humbled you and suffered you to hunger and fed you with manna, which you know not, neither did your fathers know, that he might make you know that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahuwah does man live.
So what's the question one more time?
The question is this verse telling us to eat little and focus on the words of Yah?
Yeah, in a nutshell, because he's saying that man don't live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of Yah. So again, they had food here, but they just didn't want it. It wasn't, quote unquote, good to them. So they just coming out of Egypt, which he's getting the toxins and everything out of them, even though they don't know it, because they've been eating poisonous meat in Egypt, but they don't know it. So definitely the word is supposed to keep you full. So let's go to something right quick. Go to John chapter 4. We didn't read all the way down here.
Yes, sir.
Can they hear us?
Yes,
I think we offline. I'm trying to find it. I don't think we live anymore.
You say it live.
Yes, no. I was watching it before, but
Oh, it should be up.
nope.
No? Nobody said that.
Can y'all out there see it still?
We live.
Still on?
Okay. So let's go back to John chapter 4. This is after the woman leaves him. All right, we'll pick it up at verse 29.
John 4:29. Come, see a man which told me all things that ever I did. Is not this Hamashiach? Then they went out of the city and came unto him. In the meanwhile, his disciples prayed him, saying, Master, eat. But he said unto them, I have meat to eat that you know not of.
You see what he says? I have meat to eat that you don't know nothing about this. Read.
Therefore said the disciples one to another, Have any man brought him anything to eat?
Somebody must have brought him something to eat. They must have brought him a cheeseburger or something. While we were sitting here. Read.
Yeshua said unto them, My meat is to do with the will of him that sent me, and to finish his work. Say not you, there are yet 4 months, then yet comes harvest. Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are white already to harvest. And he that repeats receives wages. He that reaps receives wages, and gathers fruit unto eternal life, that both he that sows and he that reaps may rejoice together. And herein is that saying true, one sows and another reaps. I sent you to reap that whereon you bestowed no labor. Other men labored, and you entered into their labor.
So you can see with this analysis, he's talking about a whole nother meat. Like it told us that he was weary at the beginning of the chapter, but now he's telling you I got some other meat, but they trying to give him a physical food. But he's letting you know that it's something else that's keeping me good. This other meat, this work, the same way that Moses was able to sustain himself for the 40 days and 40 nights. The same way he was able to sustain for 40 days and 40 nights because they was deeper with the spiritual level and they conquered the belly god.
Go back to that Deuteronomy 8. So he says this, just like what the Ak is saying, with this whole lesson. You don't eat to be full. You eat where it's enough, right? Where it's sufficient.
Satisfaction.
Right? So read that joint, Deuteronomy 8 again.
8 verse 3.
Yep.
And he humbled you, and suffered you to hunger, and fed you with manna.
So he humbled them and suffered them to hunger. And then he gave them manna, right? So a person that's hungry, when you finally give them food, what they gonna want to do?
Gorge.
They gonna overeat, right? When they the so-called Holocaust, if you go to those Holocaust museums, whatever have you, when they say the U.S. went to recover those people, they were so skinny because they wasn't eating, and the first thing they tried to give them was all type of steaks and this and that and this and that, when their stomachs was this big, and they were killing them because they was feeding them so much when that's not what they needed, right? So check this out. He says he humbled you and suffered you to hunger, then he gave you manna, right? Read.
Which you knew not, neither did your fathers know, that he might make you know that man does not live by bread only, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahuwah does man live.
So he was trying to get them to see that you don't just live by eating, you gotta live by the word too, right? So they were super hungry, he humbled them with fasting, and now boom, here go this manna. Jump back over to Exodus 16 when he gave them the manna. Now watch how he did it. It was the way that he did it that they was pissed off about.
We're starting at
Exodus 16, pick it up at verse 15.
Exodus 16 and 15. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, It is manna, for they wist not what it was. And Moses said unto them, This is the bread which Yahuwah hath given you to eat. This is the thing which Yahuwah hath commanded.
This is the thing that he did what?
Which Yahuwah hath commanded.
Now Yahuwah told them how to eat it. Right? Read.
Gather of it every man according to his eating.
According to what?
According to his eating.
Go ahead.
An omer for every man. According to the number of your persons. Take you every man for them which are in his tents. And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some more and some less. And when they did meet it with an omer, He that gathered much had nothing left over, and he that gathered little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating.
Because it was what? Just enough. It wasn't too little, it wasn't too much. It was just enough.
Well, no leftovers.
What ain't no leftovers. You eat where it's sufficient. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he said. I suffered you the hunger, and then he gave you manna. So he had to give them a commandment on how much to get.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Don't be eating this all day long. You know what I'm saying? You get as much as you need for you and your house, and that's it. Now you gotta wait till tomorrow to get some more.
Absolutely. Good point, Mike.
What's that? Deuteronomy 18. Where it say after you eat.
Oh, thank the Most High.
Yeah, where is that?
That's
that Deuteronomy 18.
It's 8. I think that.
It's 8.
I think it's 8. I think it's the joint you were just in. If I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me.
I know it, but I can't remember how it's worded.
I know.
It's 8.
It's 8. You see it?
Yep. 8 and 10. Start at verse.
Okay, I see it. I wanted to see, does that say are full or the field?
It said you should eat. No, look at verse. Look at here. Verse 10.
And you shall eat and be satisfied. Okay, that's good. So this is another good point. Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 10 in the King James Version, it says, when you have eaten and are full, then you shall bless Yahuwah your Elohim for the good of the land which he hath given you. But in the Hallelujah it says, and you shall eat and be satisfied, and shall barak Yahuwah. So it's a difference between being full and being satisfied.
Full make me think about what I'm doing.
But like I told y'all, the doctor told me specifically, eat your portion. Like come up with a portion size that's gonna satisfy you, and eat that. Don't eat. Tell me never eat to get full. Eat your portion. So you gotta, you really gotta check yourself. You should know how much is too much depending on what you eat. You can eat a whole plate of salad, but you can't eat you may not be able to eat a whole plate of beans or rice and beans.
All right, so since I've been on this, today I've eaten, I did a shake basically at around 1 o'clock with bananas, with sea moss, bananas, sea moss, the oat milk that I'm drinking, and that's it. And I had this probiotic drink. That's all I've had today, and I'm actually fine. The more that I do it, the better it is with me. You know what I'm saying? I don't got that craving like, oh, I can't wait, you know what I'm saying, to get out of here and go do something. It's leaving. The more that I do it, it's leaving away from me. So it's going to be hard at first, but you got to overcome it. If you don't, when the quote-unquote food shortage actually comes, it's going to be super hard on you. And most people are going to give in to it, like Adam and them gave into it. Like in Numbers chapter 25, the men gave into it. Coming out of Egypt, we gave into it. So it's like the church say, it's a work in progress. But you got to start somewhere.
Prepare, yeah. Okay, somebody said Romans 6:14 through 15, the grace that we are under, does it involve the set apart ruach dwelling in us? Part of the word grace mentions mention the divine influence upon the heart and the reflection in the life.
Romans what?
Romans 14 and 15, does it involve the Ruach? It says, for sin shall not have dominion over you, for you are not under the law, but under grace. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? Elohim forbid. So it says, does it involve the set apart Ruach dwelling in us? The grace that we're under.
Wait, what?
Romans 14 and 15?
Romans
14 and 15, it says, but if thy brother be grieved with thy meat, now walkest thou.
I'm sorry, Romans 6 and 14 and 15.
Okay.
Yeah, my bad. Oh, it says, does this involve the Ruach, the grace that we're under?
For sin shall not have dominion over you, for you are not under the law, but under grace. This goes right back to when Paul says, all things are expedient to me, but I won't let it rule over me. So he's telling you the same thing here, that because it's lawful don't mean that I can just glutton on it. So no, this is not telling you that the Ruach is going to stop you from doing these things. It's up to you. So if you were to say, Heavenly Father, take this pride away from me, take this away from me, he would be doing it. This is a self thing that you got to be able to overcome yourself. If he make you do it, then he might as well make robots. You know what I'm saying? So no, this is not saying that this is, you have to be able to overcome this yourself.
Yeah, but his word will help you overcome. His word will definitely help you overcome. So, but like Mahak saying, you have to make the conscious effort to overcome. Because like the lesson last week that Trav brought out, like every man gotta take up his stake and carry it on his shoulders, the way Hamashiach did. Deny your flesh.
Part of that he said is, he who follows me must deny himself. That includes the belly god.
So like when he say, like, hold on, it's that Galatians 5 and 22. Go to Galatians 5 and 22 real quick.
Galatians 5 and 22.
Just like what Quab was talking about as far as this temperance and any of these other fruit of the spirit. Go ahead, read that out.
But the fruit of the Ruach is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law.
So what he's saying is the fruit of the spirit, meaning you already have to have the spirit to display the fruits. Like everybody want to go in and, oh, I'm going to go and be temperate. Oh, I'm going to go and be meek. Oh, that does not mean that you have the spirit. So once you do what it takes to receive the spirit, you will be temperate and you won't allow the belly god to take over. You will be meek, so you won't allow your pride to jump on you. You will be peaceful. You will, you know what I'm saying?
Because that's what fruit is, produce.
Exactly.
And that's what the spirit produces.
Exactly. Not go in and try to grab this and I'm going to make this. No. Get the spirit first. And then once you get the spirit, it will produce these things. You know what I'm saying? So we can't lean on the spirit and say, well, the spirit going to do this. No. Go get the spirit so you can produce this stuff.
Absolutely.
All right. He must say G-bombs, green beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. Oh, yeah.
Green beans, tomatoes.
Let's see. Y'all's take on soy.
My wife hates it.
Yeah, personally, I try to stay away from soy. That's why I said any of the stuff like you can get stuff from the store that look like meat or supposed to be like meat substitute or egg or something like that, but a lot of these products are, they have tofu and soy and all that stuff. I try to stay away from it. personal preference, just because of some of the things I've seen that soy in males, it produces estrogen. So I try to steer clear of the soy. I don't know if that means that it's okay for women, because I didn't do that research, but I personally try to steer clear of soy. Even like soy sauce, like a lot of the recipes require soy sauce, but I try to get like the liquid amino acids. It's a substitute for the soy. So
soy is making girly boys.
Yeah.
Girly.
I have a question.
Did you go over Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 12 and 13? Did you go?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. What you got, Johnny?
Is it okay to use a supplement to help curb your appetite? I'm using it. I tried Lipozene, and it curbs my appetite. I mean, I literally only ate once today, and I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I eat small portions now because I'm really trying to lose this after coming out.
It's the start. Now, again, eventually, you're gonna leave that alone, and you'll be straight regardless.
Yeah,
you
know gotta be able to overcome the lipozene too.
Yeah,
that thing can mess around and be addictive. Like, you know what I mean?
Depending on that. I looked up a few things too to try to help curb my appetite, because the issue that I have is I feel like I'm hungry often. Now a lot of that may be due to the fact that I'm just in the house. You know what I mean? With the stay home thing, but like I feel like I have to eat something like every 2 or 3 hours, and I'm talking about to the point where I may not even be hungry, but my mouth will be watering and I want some food, and it's more of a mind thing that I want some food. I'm not hungry at all, but it's like, so I was looking up stuff. I did find. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you what I came across. I haven't done my research on it.
3:13.
Watch this. It's key.
You gotta get Ecclesiastes. Go ahead on.
Okay, I haven't done my research on it. It's what is it called? Sheesh, I was just looking at this. Saffron extract. I haven't finished doing my research on it, but I'm researching it because it's sick. But I know Angel, they have a product that curbs your appetite. They call it resolution drops, and you're supposed to put it, and she uses them faithfully, and it curb your appetite. She don't really have her hungry either. She may eat like a couple times a day, but she take it in the morning, and you just drop it under your tongue, and you should be good.
Watch this.
So he's going Ecclesiastes 2:24. We went here earlier. So there is nothing better for a man than that he should eat and drink.
Hold on. There's nothing better for a man that he should eat and he should drink, right? But what did he say with it? Go ahead.
And that he should make his soul enjoy good in his labor.
His good in his what?
In his labor.
You'll find the more that you are active and working, the more it'll curb your actual eating habits. Like when you're idle, just like when he went over in the lesson.
Eat out of boredom.
When you're idle, when you're bored, you're going to want to eat. Not because you're hungry, but because it ain't nothing else to do. If you keep yourself busy and moving, like when I was out for these 2 weeks of work, three weeks of work, I was bored. And I found myself snacking so much. You know what I'm saying? To where I would have to make myself stop snacking. You know what I'm saying? So now since I've been back to work, I don't even desire it. I forget that I gotta eat because I'm moving and I'm working so much. You know what I'm saying? On top of cutting back on the mess. But just like how labor helps you with sleep, labor helps you with eating less as well. You know what I'm saying?
I'm walking more about bike out what you saying.
And just to be clear, in that particular scripture, is understand what the labor of that man was. His labor was to reap and to sow. Exactly. So that's why it's saying it's nothing better than to eat of the food that you actually worked to produce. Exactly. So how good is it for those of us who's ever planted anything, when you can go out and pick them tomatoes and cut into them, or you pick your lettuce or your greens and you cook it up, you're like, man, these greens taste better than the store-bought. So you feel like the food you grew out your own ground is better than the stuff you buy out the store, which it probably is.
My granddad, bro, he used to garden, right? after he was out there all day, he'd come in and eat like half of a tomato and be straight.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Because his stomach.
I'm hungry.
His stomach.
You know what I'm saying? But you gonna eat that and that's it?
Because his stomach ain't stretched all out of proportion. You know what I'm saying? What you done forced to happen. So the wife got a herb book, right? And around the house, she found 7 herbs that's right around the house that you think is out the ground, that you think is just a weed. Pull it up so my grass can be pretty.
Yep.
But it's an herb.
Dandelions.
Throwing medicine away.
Dandelions is one of the big ones.
Exactly.
You spray stuff on your grass to kill the dandelions, but them dandelions, you can actually cook them, you can eat them, you can drink the tea, and it's great for you.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And then I saw there was a video. On a book. I don't know if y'all remember that weed they used to pluck up and that white stuff, that white sticky stuff be in it.
Yeah.
That white stuff inside is really is something healthy. And those little red berries that used to grow, you could take them. One of my good friends, he said his mom used to do it when he was a kid. You would take them red berries, dry them out, and crush them up and make a drink out of it. And it's like Kool-Aid. It tastes like Kool-Aid.
So remember Revelations 22:2, he says there was a tree, and in the midst of it, it was for the healing of the nations, was letting you know that everybody really sick. You know what I'm saying? Even whether or not you functioning and walking around with a 6-pack or whatever, we know they ain't really healthy because you're eating something when you lift in weights and all that stuff, you need to eat so many chicken breasts. You need to eat six eggs in the morning and all of this different stuff. So again, you're looking good outside, but the inside is horrible.
And that's the other thing too. Animal products. It creates mucus in the body, which keeps your joints inflamed, which it makes your immune system have to work harder to fight off virus. It all plays a role. Somebody asked, can you mention the food that you say you drink and eat again? I guess what you had in your smoothie.
I had it's this milk called Chobani oat milk, plant-based, sea moss. I had sea moss. I had this coca, the natural coca, like chocolate in it, but it's the real chocolate, and that's it. And that. And I took my other herbs on the side of it, which is vitamin C, vitamin D, elderberry. Can't remember them off the top now. Bladderwrack. Oh my goodness. Moringa. And a couple more things I can't remember off the top of the dome, but you know what I'm saying. But I ate that. I drank that about 1 o'clock. And that's the only thing that I've eaten today. And I had this probiotic joint right here. You know what I'm saying? Trying to clear the gut up. Because like you said, most of us suffer from something called leaky gut. So you need to repair your gut from, again, years and years of eating processed food, which is garbage. You know what I'm saying? Which is the reason why you get sick. Your stomach is everything. It's either going to make you sick or it's going to get you well.
All right, I don't think I see any more. Says it more on this lesson. It was more.
Yeah, I got a lot more, but like I said, I know for the time.
That buying and selling though.
I'm gonna go into that on the next time I'm up at buying and selling. What is it really talking about?
All right. Yep.
Oh, make sure if something unexpectedly happens where they come in and try to, snatch my ox up because they preaching against the food industry, y'all make sure y'all send y'all donations in for bail money. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad I wasn't in the camera for this one.
Come on around, huh? They want to take a picture of us.
Hey, I just got to go to last week's video. This is the one that's got to hear his voice. I'm glad you mentioned that. If you want to send a donation, you can send a donation via PayPal using the email address. Once again, that's chosen.seed1@gmail.com. And Cash App is # or $ chosen seed and the number 1. We thank y'all, everybody who's been sending donations. Like I said, we really appreciate it. Even though we haven't been able to gather, we still have the building, we still have rent, we still have utilities that we're paying for. So we appreciate everybody who's been sending donations over the past weeks, months. We thank everybody, the 2 sisters, Pamela and Sister Gabrielle, that do the moderating in the YouTube chat. Want to thank y'all too. Still praying for everybody's health, strength, but health and wellness is definitely key. At this point in time, we want to make sure that we are taking good care of ourselves, because that in itself has been that, along with the faith of the Most High, is the faith of the Most High being the primary reason, and the health and wellness being the secondary reason why we've been able to fight off these sicknesses and disease. And so I'm definitely looking forward to what the future brings with that, because we've been educating ourselves as far as what we should be consuming, and we're doing a good job. It's a process, we making it though. So with that, we're gonna pray out. We say shalom. See you again next week. Same bad time, same bad channel.
We gon' pray,
we gon' pray,
we gon' pray, we gon' pray, pray out,
pray out,
pray out,
pray out.
Hey, we gon' pray, we gon' pray, we gon' pray, we gon' pray, pray out,
pray out,
we gon' pray out,
pray out.
Hey, we gon' pray, we gon' pray,
pray,
we gon' pray,
we gon' pray,
we gon' pray, pray out,
pray out,
pray out.
Father God, we come before you once again, Father, with one heart, with one mind, Father, on one accord, Father. Thank you, Father, for edification. Thank you for understanding, Father, giving us strength in our ruach, Father, giving us understanding of what we need to do to weaken our flesh, Father. We pray and ask, Father, that you would continue to help us to tear down these strongholds, Father. Continue to help us to uplift and upbuild our ruach, Father. Continue to lead us and guide us, Father, into all righteousness, Father. We thank you for those, Father, who support, who watch, who are edified, Father. We thank you and ask, Father, that you would just continue to endow wisdom upon these people, Father. Continue to give us understanding as it pertains to your scriptures, Father, as it pertains to our own bodies, Father, as it pertains to your word, Father. We thank you, Father, right now. We pray and ask, Father, that you would continue to strengthen those who may be ill and may be ailing, that they would continue that their health would continue to return, Father. We pray especially the special prayer for those names who are mentioned, Father, those who are standing in the need of prayer. We stand as intercessors, Father, asking that you would look upon them, Father. Remove anything that is unlike you, Father. Renew their strength, Father. They will mount upon wings as eagles, Father. They will look to the hills from which comes their help, and that their help will come from you, Father. Father, we thank you for your word. We thank you for your way. We thank you for life, Father. We thank you for the blood of your Son, which was shed, Father, so that we can be reconciled back unto you, Father.
Yes.
Father, we just praise you right now, Father, even in the midst of the storm, Father, even in the midst of the struggle, Father. We give you the esteem, Father, and the praise. All these things we pray and we give thanks. So be it.
So be it.
Avinu Shabbat Shemayim.
Avinu Shabbat Shemayim.
Ikadosh.
Ikadosh.
Shenka.
Tavo.
Malkutka.
Malkutka.
Yeaseh. Ratzonka.
Baretz.
Kasher. Nasha. Bashemayim. Tein Lanu. Hayom. Likin. Ikanu. Uzla. Lanu. Eight. Ashmatenu. Kasher. Sukin. Anaknu. Lasher. Ashmu.
Lanu, Wa'al, Tabinu, Lede, Basa, Ki, In, Hasalanu, Min, Para, Ki, Laka, Amam Laka, Wahagibora, Wahatifaret, Rome, Gulamin, so be it. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.